Always live on the free Odyssey app. It's a new era for the 49ers.
Oh my God, Jimmy Garoppolo.
With a roster full of talent.
Deebo Samuel with the catch. The pass is going to be picked off by Bosa. Nick Bosa.
And it's almost time for kickoff. Welcome to the Kickoff Show with Larry Krueger and Lorenzo Neal on 95.7 The Game. Sponsored by Jim Beam Bourbon Whiskey. Taste the world's #1 bourbon. And by Harris Ranch Beef. Legendary beef, legendary quality.
And like that, we are off and running. Larry Krueger and Lo Neal, the future Hall of Fame fullback here at the Hilton in Santa Clara. It is Week 10 in the NFL. And Lo, tonight we get the 4-4 Niners and the 5-3 Chargers in what has already been just an incredibly wild Week 10 around the league. Welcome to the Kickoff Show, sponsored by Jim Beam Bourbon and Harris Ranch Beef. And for the next couple hours, we'll talk Niners and Chargers, leading right into actually Warrior basketball tonight, which we will have for you on 95.7 The Game. I believe John Dickinson, Sterling Bennett leading you into that, getting you ready for the Warriors and the Kings tonight on 95.7 The Game. But, Lo, good to see you, man.
It's good to be seen, man. Excited, man. A little week off, and now we got the 49ers and my old team, my old Stone Ground. How about the old Chargers coming into town, man? Can't wait to see the little Herbert, what they got in store, but I'm excited, man. I'm excited about this football game. I really am.
Do you like putting on those unis?
Oh, man.
Those Charger unis?
You know those powder blue. I know this is Niner country, but that powder blue, man, is pretty. It's pretty. You look out here at the little tailgate, everyone's out there, the Niner fans and Charger fans, and that powder blue, though, it just pops, man. Something about that powder blue I like.
You know, it's funny. Last time the Niners actually won the Super Bowl, they beat the Chargers.
Beat up
January of 95, the 94 season. And I was down in Santa Clara this week talking to the players on Wednesday and Thursday and just getting their, feeling coming out of the bye week and talking to some of them about this matchup. And it dawned on me, none of these guys were even around for that.
They weren't even born, probably, right?
They weren't even around.
Check that out. It was awesome Super Bowl for the Niners. They just jumped on top of the Chargers and never looked back. But totally remember that Super Bowl, man, back in the day. But it's just great, man. The atmosphere. It's a Sunday, cool afternoon, man. You walking over to the stadium here and coming over to the Hilton. And look at here, these brand new shoes, blowout. Check it out. Got to blow out my shoe. I'm walking. All of a sudden, I'm like walking with the limp, brother. And I look down and I lose my heel.
You lost your heel.
I lost my heel. Look at these are nice kicks too.
Oh,
nice and fresh, new. And the heel fell off on them. By golly. So walking around, had a blowout, man. I'm just so fast and so excited about this football game. Already got a blowout, brother.
You need an emergency Foot Locker.
Exactly, man. And, I might just go barefooted, man. Run out, go barefooted. Throw these shoes away, go barefooted, watch the game, sit in the stands. But I tell you, man, the atmosphere is great. Looking at these fans, both sides, fans getting along and just having a good time. This is what it's about, heading to a very, very crucial week for both these two teams.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to this matchup.
Yeah, it's going to be good. Niners getting healthy, and, the Chargers a team they can beat. On paper, you might say, yeah. When you look a little deeper, you realize that the 49ers have struggled in primetime outside of against the Rams. I think they've lost their last 7 primetime games. So which Niner team's going to show up? How are the Chargers going to score points tonight? That's the one question I have. No Mike Williams, no Keenan Allen.
Yeah.
That means their number one receiver is Joshua Palmer, and it puts an awful lot of pressure on Herbert
yes.
and a lot on Austin Eckler.
Yeah, it really does, man. I know we'll get into some of the key matchups and talk about some of these games, but before we even dive into what these teams are, how they're going to score, last week I was watching a football game. You know who that was? The Atlanta Falcons and the L.A. Chargers.
Yeah.
And guess who won that game? The Chargers won that game by golly. So when you start to look at something, and you know what? 2 weeks ago I was watching Atlanta, and that was L.A. Chargers going to Atlanta. And a couple weeks ago I watched the Niners go to Atlanta and get slapped around.
Right.
And so when you look at styles make fights, so I know everyone looks at this game, and this is a game, I know you looked at the line, I think it was 7 points, the Niners are favored, but when you look at this team, and Justin Herbert coming off that rib injury, Kansas City a couple weeks back, but now he's starting to, and when he was injured, they shoot him up, get the Toradol, and you saw him couple weeks ago just struggling against Jacksonville. They got beat up, and he's just trying to get the ball in there against Cleveland. They got a quick slant, and he locks in on that slant. He's trying to throw it, and he's just going through and being mechanical. The last couple weeks, and especially last week, I saw Justin Herbert turn back into the football player. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? So there's sometimes you see guys and they go back and they're like, go through, and it's like, boom, I'm supposed to go here with the ball. This is where I'm going. I'm going to force the ball in here. This is where I'm going. But Justin Herbert, that's not Justin Herbert who he is. What makes him elite and what makes him kind of special and dangerous is when he's playing football. And when kid's playing football, he can be one of the dangerous quarterbacks because that's when he's improvising. That's when he can extend plays with his legs. That's when he's saying, look, I'm going to find a way, and I'm going to find a way, and I'm going to bide enough time to find the open man. And that's what this kid can do. So, yes, on paper, it doesn't look like this should be a great matchup. It looks like the Niners, they're physical. You look at the Chargers, they don't know how to stop the run. Their run defense, Bosa, one of the Bosa's hurt. Joey Bosa's not played in several weeks, so you just got Khalil Mack. So, yes, it looks like that on paper, but this team has made some plays. You look at where they're at in their schedule, and you look at the teams they played, you look around and like, it's been ugly, but they're still in this thing too.
Well, there's no question. I mean, and as the old saying, it's the way you play the day you play.
Sure.
You know what I mean? The Niners struggled with the Falcons, and Arthur Smith had a great game plan, and the Chargers eked one out against the Falcons last week. So does that mean the Chargers have the upper hand tonight? Or is it, or do the Niners have the upper hand with all the players coming back? What did you think? We didn't see the 49ers last week. I asked several of the guys this week, what does the bye week really mean to you? And, everybody, the old saying, tell me, everybody's hurt. Tell me when you're injured. You know what I mean? Every single guy who's on the football team is hurt.
Yes.
Okay. It's just a matter of how much pain can they deal with. So then you mix in a bye week. And just talking to the guys this week, there were several guys who were like, man, if there was a second bye week, I'd be all for it. My body feels immensely better just from 1 week, getting off your feet, not driving, not banging heads. And a lot of guys said it's not just a physical break, that the NFL is a mental grind, and the coaches are demanding that you are in your game plan and looking at all these details, and it gets to be a lot once you put 7-8 games back to back, and they mentally just need a chance to
recharge.
To recharge. I asked Colton McKivitz, I said, what'd you do this week? He said, I went out on a boat crabbing in the bay.
Yeah, and I believe
I just had to get away.
Just get away. Unplug from football. The mental drain that it has on you. You play in a 16 or 17 game season, and every day you get up. You think about where you're at in the city. You think about where you depend on what city you're from or what team, organization you're playing for. If your practice starts at 8, you got to leave probably at 6 because traffic. If you can't leave 10 minutes prior, because guys usually don't live maybe next to the stadium. So if you get in traffic, you're in trouble. So these guys are getting up probably 5, 6 o'clock, some 4, depends on where they live, and they want to beat traffic to get there. Some guys get here early, and they probably go take a nap and go lay down for an hour before meetings and get going because they understand the grind. And then you're going to meetings, and then, you're in meetings, you go to meetings, and then I'll go through a walkthrough around 11 o'clock. Then you come back for lunch, eat, and then at 1 o'clock, you're back in for a quick meet, then back on the field at 1 o'clock, 1 to 3, 1 to 4. Then, you shower, take another, shower, and then get back in meetings for like 4 to 5. You're out of there by 6 o'clock. You're in the heat of traffic going home. Some guys aren't getting home to 7, 8 o'clock at night. And then guess what? And then it's Groundhog Day. You're right back in it again. So absolutely, the grind of this game, man, it's tough. Yeah, you're a grown man playing a kid's game, getting a king's ransom. But I'm telling you, man, it gets tough on your body, gets physical, and all the things you go through. Just going in your car, you're cramping, you're driving home, big day of practice. You got ice packs on your legs. You're driving your car home with ice bags underneath your legs or hamstrings. Your calves are wrapped, and all those compression pads on while you're driving home. Ice pack on your neck. You're driving in traffic. Boom, get home, take a shower, whatever, play with the kids, whatever you got to do. Go back to sleep. And same thing.
It's a grind.
Groundhog Day. No question.
It's a grind. And so these guys need a break from the grind. Now the Niners are coming off the bye. Now 2 weeks ago, the Niners beat the Rams, and it was 31-14 in L.A. in Week 8. In that game, we saw Christian McCaffrey throw a touchdown pass, catch a touchdown pass, and have a touchdown run. Only the 11th player in the history of the league to do that. What was your takeaway 2 weeks ago? 49ers, that was a ball game at half. Second half, 49ers win the second half 21-0, and the Niner defense held the Rams to 58 total yards in the second half. Give me your takeaway a couple weeks ago against the Rams.
I saw a 49er team that imposed its will on the Rams. I saw a Rams team that blinked. I saw a Rams team that can't protect their quarterback on a consistent basis. I saw Ram teams that can't run the ball on a consistent basis. I saw Ram teams that, you know what, that Matthew Stafford has to throw the ball 40 to 50 times for them to even have a chance to win any ball game.
It's a bad offense.
It's a very bad offense, and their defense is predicated on getting in front, and if they're in front, then they can pin their ears back, and that's when that defense can get after you. They're a defense that likes to play in front and put pressure on the quarterback. But when a team can be two-dimensional and run the ball and pass the ball and do that against the Rams defense is subpar. And that's what teams are doing. They understand the Rams offense can't put pressure on the other defenses, and so now you get to see the Rams team, and that's what the Niners took advantage of. They said, okay, this team can't score. We're going to continue to run the ball. We're going to keep punching them in the mouth. We're going to throw the ball. We're going to run the ball. Going first and second down. And so that's what I saw. I saw a Niners team start to beat the Rams up and make the Rams one-dimensional, and then it turned into the Niners just taking over and complete domination.
It was a big second half, and the Niners were doing this last week with no Deebo Samuel. So 14-10 Rams at the half. And to me, the big, two takeaways. One, 49ers had no turnovers. I mean, Jalen Ramsey dropped 2 Jimmy Garoppolo picks. Had him right there. Boom. On the hands, dropped him. Christian McCaffrey popped on one of his runs. Ball jumps up into the air, comes down into the arms of Ray McLeod. The 49ers were even on the turnover margin last week. It very easily could have been -3. That was the first takeaway.
Right.
They were very fortunate.
They were.
The other thing that really jumped out, and this was more about the Rams, but man, the Rams gave up earlier than I thought they would. I mean, think about this. This game was 14-10 Rams at the half. The Rams started running the ball on third downs with about 7 minutes to play in the fourth quarter. Yeah. I mean, Nick Bosa was like, hey, man, he had 3 hits on the quarterback, couple sacks. He said this week, hey, man, I would have had a couple more if they didn't, take away my money downs. Basically, the Rams gave away. They just basically stopped trying to win the game, stopped passing it on third down with 6-7 minutes left in the game, and just kind of preserve, we're not going to let Bosa take hits on Stafford. We'll just run it and punt.
Well, I think they did that for a couple reasons. Like you just said, why let Stafford get hit? If you're talking about a team that's going to try to make a push and going to try to get this offense going, the Rams that is, why are you going to sit back there and let this quarterback go 7-step drop and you know that they can't protect him? So they're looking at this situation. Yeah, they said, hey, look, we don't want Nicky Bosa to tee off on our guy. We want to just preserve this guy and try to live to fight on another day. And so they did run the ball. But I think the Rams are going to have to find a way to run the ball because they're just not good enough, and you got to be able to ball control because that's what the Niners predicated on. Niners want you to say, okay, we're going to start throwing the ball, 7-step drop, the quarterback gets to 7 steps, and that's what today is going to be about. Tonight is going to be about, can the Niners put pressure on Herbert? Because we look at Austin Eckler, you look what he can do running the ball, hasn't been consistent, but he's been consistent in the passing game. So the Niners want to make this team one-dimensional, and that's throw the ball, and that's what the Rams tried to do last couple of weeks ago and just couldn't do it because they don't have enough horses up front.
What did you see from Garoppolo? He was 21 of 25. 84% is what he completed. That's the highest percentage since, you got to go back to Steve Young, in the late 90s. Last time we saw a Niner quarterback complete 84%. I just think he looks so comfortable in this offense now. I think this is one of the best stretches I think I've seen him in, and the addition of McCaffrey is almost the perfect weapon to complement his skill set. What are you seeing with Garoppolo? Because he's now starting to round into form, playing, arguably his best ball as a Niner.
Yeah, and he is, and I think like you alluded to, though, 2 interceptions, Jalen Ramsey has 2 in his hand. So would we be having this conversation if he makes those catches? That's one. 2, we got to look and say, what does McCaffrey do? McCaffrey gives him a better safety blanket. Now he can get out, and he knows how to read coverages. You watch McCaffrey on the touchdown. He waits his time. He sees the linebacker cover, and then he uncovers, and he just releases nice and slow. He throttles down. He understands football. He understands holes. He understands where the ball can be and don't run to get covered. And he does a great job of that. So I think Jimmy is going to feel a lot more comfortable now because now he has a guy in McCaffrey. If all else fails, this guy can win for you. But then you got to give the line some credit. They do a great job. This Niner defense, offensive line, they do a great job against one of the elite pass rushers in the league. And you know who I'm talking about when you're talking about the Rams. They do a great job of, blocking him, putting a body on him, running right at him. They understand what they have to do. So now, if you can keep Jimmy clean with the receivers and the weapons now that he has, because he has a plethora of weapons, this team can win. But the biggest thing now, you just got to stay ahead on the sticks. You got to win on first and second down. You can't sit in third and long because I still don't think this offensive line can hold up long, and that's why McCaffrey's going to have to win on a lot of hot routes. I think that he's going to be big down the stretch because they know that the team's going to break down offensively along that offensive line, and that's where McCaffrey, I think, is going to make some money for this team because of the fact when the pressure is on, I think he's going to be that safety blanket for Jimmy G to get the ball to.
Jimmy G's been good. He's registered 230 or more passing yards and 2 or more touchdowns in his last 4 games. So he's playing pretty well. He's got these great bevy of weapons now that he can choose from, and he's just got options. And McCaffrey, the one thing, and Daniel Jeremiah made the point this week when he was talking about the 49ers, just saying that not only do they have the best collection of run-after-the-catch weapons in the league, but every one of those guys that they have are tackle-breaking run-after-the-catch guys. You might be a run-after-the-catch guy because you're just fast. But the 49ers don't have run-after-the-catch guys that are fast. They have run-after-the-catch guys that run through you. Kittle, Ayuk, Debo, McCaffrey, even Elijah Mitchell to some degree. These guys can break tackles. So if 49er receiver catches the ball short, that's the first part is you're going to try to bring them down short. But then once they start moving down the field, they become a very difficult team to tackle against. So I think that means the onus is on the Chargers tonight to somehow wrap up against the 49ers to avoid those big chunk yardage plays.
Oh, without a doubt. And there's an ageless wonder on that team, a guy that you like. I know we love this guy. No matter what team he plays for, you just like him. You like what he brings to the table. He's a football player. And that's none of the number 52 in your program, number 1 in your heart. Oh, Khalil Mack. This is a guy, the ageless wonder. He's been holding it down for that Chargers team. That Chargers defense is very, very suspect. When you look at Derwin James, guys that got hurt, we'll have, Barner coming on to break down some of the Chargers at 4, who Chargers insider. But if you look at how that defense, they went out and spent a lot of money for that defensive guys. And I'll tell you, they haven't necessarily played up to the money that they spent, but a guy who's been playing pretty well, and that's Khalil Mack, beating double teams, strip tackles, strip sacks, all the things that he's doing. So yes, you're absolutely right. The Niners are going to have to make this team tackle, get the ball out to these receivers and stuff in space, and make that secondary tackle you. Make Khalil Mack become one-dimensional. Run the ball right at him. Make sure that you put it in a tight end or a running back, and make sure you chip him, and make that guy don't let him beat you. And that's what you got to do. If you're the Niners, you say, don't let 52 beat you. Let's let someone else beat you. So you're absolutely right. They have to get the ball in receiver's hand. They have to go put it out there and see if the Chargers can tackle.
Yeah, slide that protection towards Khalil every time without Joey Bosa. Sadly, we're not going to get to see the Bosa brothers go head to head. I would love to see Joey against Nick. This was supposed to be the first meeting. It's going to have to wait.
Yeah.
Joey's got the core muscle surgery issue that Nick had at Ohio State. But the mother, Cheryl, plans to be at the game tonight, and she's going to be wearing a half Chargers, half Niners jersey. And if Nick Bosa gets a half sack tonight, the family reaches the 100 sack mark as a family. So Joey's got 59 and a half career. Nick's got 33. The father, John Bosa, has 7. I wanted to ask you, you came into the NFL when there was no such thing as a bye, and that concept was introduced during your playing career, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And I'm just kind of wondering what you think of it what you thought of it at the time. And, like for baseball, 5 days off is a nightmare. But in football, every day that you can rest your body, it means you're going to be faster, more explosive. Do you remember how you felt going into a midseason bye and maybe how your body felt after getting that rest?
Hey, I tell you what, you look for those buys. You hate it when it came like in week 3 or week 2. Somebody's getting them. You're like, God. You look. The first thing you do is like, let me find where the buy is, and you hope it's like week 8, week 9, week 10. No later than week 10 or 11. You want it maybe a little bit after the halfway point, or, maybe a week before. So, because you want to get that, because then you want to go on that stretch. You don't want it at the end of it. You don't want it like 2 or 3 weeks left. You want to make sure that, because then you get ready for that push and you can get that rhythm. But when I'm telling you, your body, you're beat up. You can just that rest of that week of practice where you're just like, you're only out there for an hour. You're going through walkthrough. You're making sure that you're mentally, coach says, hey, take the day off. I want guys to come back fresh. I want guys to come back rested, because your body, you're not meant to be in that car crash every single time. You think about, you got helmets, you got guys 200, 300 pounds. You're just crashing, hitting each other all the time at practice. You're getting frustrated, grabbing, pulling fingers, breaking your fingers, guys hitting your helmets and your thighs. Your body is not meant for it. So without a doubt, the bye is absolutely crucial. I think it's great that they have a bye.
Yeah, and the one thing that was pretty clear from talking to a number of the players this week is that Kyle Shanahan has basically made the statement to these guys, hey, this is when we need to get serious. This is when we need to dial it up. The 49ers envision themselves as a Super Bowl caliber roster, and they've got high expectations for the season that lies ahead. And talking to a number of guys this week, that consistent theme came up. All right, guys, we've now had the bye. We're 4-4. We're better than a 4-4 team. We're not a 500 team. We're a championship caliber team. It's time to find that next level. So you got guys coming back, and there'll be a number of them. And we even mentioned the list, but the Niners are still waiting on Javon Kinlaw, but Elijah Mitchell's back, Azeez Al-Shair's back, Colton McKivitz on the O-line's back, Jordan Willis was back. They even called up T.Y. McGill off the practice squad. They were hoping to bring Jason Verrett back, and then he suffered the Achilles injury this week. And there'll be a number of Niner players, a number of the DBs told me this week that they've got these Jason Verrett T-shirts they're going to wear under their pads to honor JV. Very popular player. 2 ACLs, 2 Achilles, a torn labrum in the hip. His career most likely is over.
Yeah.
I don't say that with any glee at all, but I mean his he's probably at the end, and the guys knew it. It was emotional this week when he went down. Shanahan thought about canceling the rest of practice.
It's so bad, man, when you see guys that work so hard to try to come back from injuries to play and try to help their team, and then the opportunities presents itself that not only to help your team, that you're going to have a big role, and you've been working to get back, and you put everything on hold, and you couldn't wait to get out there, and all of a sudden you get out there, and boom, it's a knee. Then it's a knee. Then you get back, you come back again, and then it's a hip.
Your body just fails you.
Your body, and it's really just sad for Jason Verrett. You're absolutely right. I know you're not saying with any glee, but he's done. His body just said, this is a game. This is a tough game. A lot of people think, oh, guys no. Your body is not meant to play football, bro. I don't care what guys say. It's tough.
There's only so many games in a player's body.
No question.
For him, the number was 40. He played 40 NFL career games. Great player. Shanahan made the point earlier this year. When Verrett's right, he's not just a Pro Bowl caliber player. He's an all-pro caliber corner, and they're not going to have him. What does that mean for Samuel Womack, Dante Johnson, and others? It means there's going to be more opportunity in that secondary. All right, let's take a timeout. We are going to hear from Borna Nazari, who is a Charger insider, is going to join us at 4 o'clock. We'll also go through the top 10 plays of the first half of the year. And how good is Justin Herbert? Is he an overrated quarterback? Is he an underrated quarterback? We'll get to that later on. But coming up next, what do you expect to see tonight? We will get into that. I'll ask Lo what he thinks. We'll throw out some thoughts. Niners and Chargers, and we got a couple hours to break it down. Sponsored by Jim Beam Bourbon and Harris Ranch Beef. We're here live at the Hilton in Santa Clara on 95.7 The Game.
Wow, look at these Black Friday deals on TVs. Samsung, Sony, and LG at the lowest prices of the year, even on their top-rated models. Now we can get that top-rated Samsung we were thinking about. but we'll need to get up early on Friday.
These are great deals, but why wait? Video Only has all these deals right now. We can get what we want today, and they're even offering no interest financing.
So we can get these Black Friday deals right now at Video Only and pay it off later?
Yep, and many of their prices are better than those flyers.
Better than Black Friday? No wonder Video Only got those high scores when they rated TV stores. Let's head over now and beat the crowds.
At Video Only, you won't find huge stores with refrigerators or dishwashers, but you will find the best deals on the best TVs, sound bars, and home theater systems. Shop around, but then make sure you visit Video Only, because if you don't,
you'll be sorry.
In Mountain View, San Mateo, Union City, Dublin, and San Rafael.
Video Only.
At Harris Ranch, we do beef, just like we've done for over 50 years. Beef that's raised locally right here in California. The flavor you crave, the quality you trust time after delicious time. Harris Ranch, we do beef.
Anticipation is building. The holidays are just around the corner, and at the Home Depot, we can't wait. With Black Friday savings all through November, you can count down to Christmas early with a Santa Countdown Inflatable Special Buy, only $69.98. Or anticipate when friends and family come to visit with an entrance full of LED lights that will welcome them and the holidays with open arms. Get the holiday magic started early. The Home Depot, how doers get more done.
Okay, can I have everybody's attention for just a second?
Morgan's media planning firm just landed a multi-million-dollar client.
Because we won the pitch.
She needs to staff up before trafficking hits a traffic jam.
So we're going to need research, planning, buying, obviously, and probably data analytics.
Indeed can help her hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. We instantly connect you with quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your job description. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Today on Hey Culligan, reverse to reduce. Here's Bob.
Hey Culligan, I love fresh water, but I got plastic bottles coming out.
Whoa, Bob, you are not kidding about the bottles. But did you know Culligan's reverse osmosis and always-on drinking water systems provide fresh, clean, delicious drinking water and help reduce the equivalent of over 15 billion plastic bottles from landfills worldwide?
Holy, fresh, environmentally friendly drinking water. Am I right?
Right, Bob. And we're already on the way. Let us help you out with a free in-home water test from a local Culligan water expert at Culligan.com.
Texting privacy policy and terms and conditions posted at textplan.us. Texting enrolls for recurring automated text marketing messages. Message and data rates may apply. Reply stop, opt out. Go to getrbawindows.com for full offer details.
Homeowners, do you know when to replace your windows? Feeling too hot or cold? It's time to replace. Can't see through fog between the glass? Time to replace. Spending too much on expensive energy that literally goes out the window? It's definitely time to replace. If you've put off replacing windows in your home because it's too expensive, here's great news. You can now get a free in-home window consultation and free price quote from Renewal by Andersen, the company with the most 5-star reviews among leading full-service window replacement companies. And during their Black Friday sale, you can save $355 off every window and $910 off every door. Just text SCREEN to 323232 for your free consultation on top quality affordable windows or patio doors for $0 down, 0 payments, and 0 interest for a year. That's right, you don't pay a dime for an entire year. Plus, you can save $355 off every window and $910 off every door. But hurry, this offer ends November 25th. Text SCREEN to 323232 right now. Don't go into winter with drafty windows. Text the word SCREEN to 323232. Don't wait. Text SCREEN to 323232.
Qatar, here we come.
Christian's travel agency has one goal.
Talk to you soon.
The world's biggest soccer tourney.
The hotel is 7 miles from the stadium. Are you serious? Did you email the transportation company?
Now he needs an Arabic interpreter on his roster.
I don't speak it either.
Indeed can help him hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. You can schedule and conduct virtual interviews all from your employer dashboard. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Hi, welcome to the IKEA Holiday Prep event. Here to help you host the season with offers, in-store workshops, and more.
Oh, great. I may have invited the whole neighborhood for the holidays.
Don't worry, you can do this. To start, IKEA family members save 20% on Venturfent Christmas tree decor and gift wrap.
You are my hero.
Visit us in-store or at IKEA-USA.com/holiday prep to get ready and save. Offer valid 11/9 to 11/23/22. U.S. only while supplies last. Selection may vary by store and online. Restrictions apply.
Here's to Prilosec OTC. Just 1 pill each morning and no heartburn all day. My holiday hero.
Prilosec OTC. 1 pill a day, 24 hours, 0 heartburn. It's possible while taking Prilosec OTC. Use as directed for 14 days to treat frequent heartburn, not for immediate relief.
Now back to the Kickoff Show with Larry Krueger and Lorenzo Neal on 95.7 The Game. Sponsored by Jim Beam Bourbon Whiskey. Taste the world's #1 bourbon. And by Harris Ranch Beef. Legendary beef, legendary quality.
I made the point when they said, would you be interested in doing the pregame show? I said, if you can get me bourbon and some Harris Ranch beef, I could be there. And here we are, live from the Hilton in Santa Clara. Low Neal, future Hall of Fame fullback Larry Krueger with you on 95.7 The Game. Sponsored by Jim Beam Bourbon and Harris Ranch Beef. And, of course, when we're done, Warriors Kings go later tonight on 95.7 The Game. A man giving us the fist outside.
Baby, they're fired up.
Wearing the P. Willis jersey.
Yes.
And he's hanging out with Ronnie Lott.
Exactly.
Two veterans. All right. What do we expect to see tonight? That is, we started off talking a lot about what the Niners looked like before the bye week against the Rams, and then the impact of that bye week and what they're getting back. But now let's get into the nuts and bolts of this one tonight. Niners, Chargers. Niners are 4-4. Chargers are 5-3. Very much alive in both teams. Very much alive for a playoff berth in their respective conference. What do you expect to see tonight, Lo?
I'm going to tell you right now, this is going to be, I'm going on a limb. This is the Kittle game. Hey, diddle, Kittle down the middle. I've been wanting to say that forever. It's time for Kittle to unleash the hound. I think Kittle gets it. I think Kittle goes over.
Kittle night.
It's a big Kittle night. It's a big Kittle. I think he goes over the century mark tonight. I'm going out on a limb. I think that when you look at what they're going to do, I think you're going to understand that people are going to be, they're going to intent, you're going to look at Debo. You know he's coming back. He's going to be trying to play, and he's going to go hard. You know that.
Right.
You know what you're going to get. McCaffrey, that he's going to catch some passes, he's going to run, he's going to do the thing. That place is going to be rocking. I don't think the Chargers have an answer for Kittle. I think that he's too physical for these linebackers. I don't think they can run with him. I think Kittle's going to have a big night tonight. I think they're going to feature him. It's time for the Kittle, man. It's time for Kittle to go ahead and be Kittle, because I tell you right now, the fans, when he gets going and when he's involved in this offense, the others around him, the whole offense starts to permeate and whole offense starts to bubble. The whole offense starts to go. He's a driving force in this offense. So I like to see Kittle get involved in the offense early, and I think this can be a big game for everyone. Spread the ball around, and they can get after him.
It's an interesting game because this is the game that brings Elijah Mitchell back to the football field. Elijah Mitchell was the Niners' #1 back. This is just his second game of the season. He sprained his MCL back in Week 1 against the Bears at Soldier. He had double-digit carries in 9 of his 11 games during his rookie year. He had 20 carries in each of his last 5 games. He missed 6 with various injuries, but he doesn't fumble the football. I think this is an interesting game from the standpoint of the Chargers are bottom of the league in rushing yards allowed. They give up almost 6 yards a carry. They just lost one of their best defensive tackle, Austin Johnson, last week to a knee injury. They're giving up almost 150 per game on the ground. So I think this is a real mental struggle, I think, for Kyle Shanahan. Why? Because we already talked about it. You got all these run after the catch weapons. You got, you have Debo and Ayuk and McCaffrey and Kittle and Ray McLeod. If you want to use him, Danny Gray. He's got a lot of weapons. But I think this game, if you're really saying, what does this call for? Don't take chances with the football. Run the ball a ton. Commit to the run. And I'd love to see Elijah Mitchell come back in full force and get a full dose of Elijah Mitchell. He doesn't fumble the football. Turnovers is basically one of the 2 or 3 things that could actually cost them the football game tonight. I don't think the Chargers have the offensive weaponry to run with this Niner team. But I think this is so. On one hand, Shanahan could be tempted to fling it all around because the Chargers don't have that kind of. The Chargers can't score 30 points. Not without Keenan Allen. Not without Mike Williams. So I personally think, though, the more guaranteed way to win is run the hell out of the football and commit to the run, and that's going to require Kyle Shanahan to show some patience. And I don't know that he always has the patience to stick with the run game and just take his 3 yards, 4 yards, and just pound away.
I totally understand where you're coming from. Kruger, when you're talking about, hey, the inconsistency of Kyle Shanahan, will he just 3 yards in a cloud of dust? Okay, let's run it again, and okay, it's 3rd and 2, run it again, and go back to that type of style of football. I think it's great. I love that type of football. You know me, the old fullback. Hey, I love lining up and putting my shoulder pads, and I love going to I heard glass. So that's my type of football.
You're all about a 4-yard game.
Absolutely. But I'm going to tell you, is it sustainable long term? You're just coming off the bye. When you look at the Chargers team and you talk about the inconsistency that they've shown on defense, they can't stop the run. Passing game, Barrett, all the guys, Chase Jackson, guys that got hurt, different guys in the secondary, they're injured. So it's like, do I need to beat my team up right after the bye when I'm getting ready to go into this stretch? Am I playing at home? Do I want to make this just a physical game and keep it close and let the Chargers stick around? Or do I have an opportunity to go out here and still run the ball and be aggressive and still be physical, Larry? But say, okay, I'm going to be physical, but I'm also going to spread the ball, and I'm going to take some shots because I'm at home. I want to get in and make this Charger team, say, one-dimensional so I can get more rest. So now they're not trying to be physical running the ball. Can I do that and kind of, because I know there's going to be some games a la Seattle, some teams that we're going to, on our schedule, that we're going to have to be a lot more physical than tonight. So I don't know if you go. I totally understand what you're saying, but what do you say to when I'm saying to what the point that I'm making about just?
I hear you. I'm thinking. Have a game plan that guarantees you victory. You're thinking more about managing the bodies over the course of the season, and why have that much run through when maybe you could run around. I just think that when you dictate the physicality and you start rolling downhill, you don't necessarily get injured. It's the defenders that wind up getting injured by guys like yourself.
True.
Just putting them on their can.
True.
Then let's flip the card. On the other side of tonight, I think this sets up for a huge day for Austin Eckler. Eckler leads the Chargers in rushing yards. He's got 6 rushing touchdowns on the year. He also has 60 receptions for almost 400 yards receiving with 4 receiving touchdowns. He's going to be the guy. And if you watch him, I don't know if you saw that play last week on the sideline against the Falcons. He caught the ball, and ultimately his elbow did touch down, and so they said he was downed. But he did like a Barry Sanders type thing where he kept his feet, rolled off the defender, never had his knee really hit down, and went the distance for a touchdown. They thought it was a touchdown. They looked at the replay, come back. They showed the elbow kind of scraped the surface, and so he formally, one elbow means you're down.
Yeah.
But Eckler, rapping against Eckler tonight is, I think, the number one object on defense, because if he starts turning 3-yard runs into 6-yard runs, if he starts turning 5-yard catches into 20 and 30-yard gains because you can't wrap him up, it's going to be a long night.
You're right. And when I watch Eckler, to me, he's not a guy that's physical. It's not that he runs behind his pads. It's not that he's going to run guys over. He's finesse. He just gives and takes. He's like, bam, bam. You just watch him. He just really jukey, can get in and out, and he just makes guys miss their arm tackling. Like you said, they got to wrap him up. It's not that he runs with so much velocity and run you over. He's just so elusive and so shifty that guys, he just gives them bad angles, and they're just trying to arm tackle him, and that's where he starts to build steam, and like you're talking about, build momentum. So they have to square him up, and you got to put bodies on him. You got to put 1 and 2 and have every guy swarm tackle this guy, because he makes guys arm tackle, and he's great in space, and it's hard to get clean shots on him.
He's just one of those guys that keeps the legs churning.
Yeah.
And he's twisting and he's turning.
Yes.
He's got great balance. I mean, you're right. I mean, there's bigger backs. You say physical backs, you name 10 guys before you'd ever say Austin Eckler. Right. But he's one of those guys that in open spaces, you dump it to him in the flat, and guys take bad angles because he's a little bit quicker than you think.
Yep.
Guys, he's not a big-bodied guy, so people think like, I'll just bring him to the ground. The Niners have some dominant tacklers, Greenlaw, Aziz, Fred Warner.
Sure.
But they also have guys like Hufanga who have missed a lot of tackles, kind of fallen off, guys who would keep their legs moving. So how they wrap against Eckler is going to be I think, of utmost importance. That the Chargers are not a strong defensive team. They've allowed the third most points in the league.
Right.
But offensively, and we haven't, the last 3 weeks, Herbert has yet to throw a ball 30 yards in the air the last 3 weeks. Why? Because he doesn't have the receivers. Hasn't had Keenan for weeks with the hammy. Mike Williams is down. They're a one receiver team in a lot of ways with Josh Palmer, who's a decent receiver, had a 100-yard day last week on 8 catches, but he's not a game breaker. And if the 49ers can somehow wrap on Eckler and put a little bit of heat on Herbert, I think it's going to be advantage 49ers. The challenge for D'Amico is he's without 3 of his 4 top defensive linemen. Doubtful is Samson Ebukam, Kinlaw's out, Armstead's out. You could be down 3/4 of your starting D-line.
Yeah, and that bears well for the Chargers and Herbert, because Herbert is a quarterback that if you give him time, and like I said, earlier in this year, after the injury against Kansas City, you saw Herbert trying to force things. You looked at him, you watched the inconsistency and how he was throwing the ball, and you watch him, he's like get focused in on a guy, and he's just trying to get it there. Last week, when it was on the line and he needed to be great, Herbert now is extending plays with his legs. He's making decisions. He's turning back into that football player. That's what you want. Because most quarterbacks, when you look at the Josh Allens, when you look at, Kansas City Chiefs and Mahomes, and you start to watch these quarterbacks, they make plays. They extend plays, but they're football players. They're just not saying, okay, I got to go to the first read, second. No, they're saying, okay, that fell, that broke down. Let me make a play. Let me show you what I can do with my athletic ability to make a big play. And that's the kind of quarterback Herbert is. So now I think when you're talking about having those type of defensive linemen down, and they're going to turn their protection to Bosa and saying, look, we got to make sure we have account for Bosa. We can't let Bosa beat us. And you're going to see Herbert move the pocket. So it's going to be interesting because he gets out on the perimeter, and that's what the Niners struggle with Herbert. If he gets out on the perimeter and now he becomes two-dimensional with his legs, now it's hard to cover because you got to still drop, you still got to cover, you still got to commit to stopping the run because Herbert can hurt you with his legs. So that's what the Chargers are going to try to do. They're going to try to get Herbert outside the pocket at times. They're going to try to let him use his athletic ability and make plays with his legs, but also make plays with his arms by design, and also not just by design, by busted plays.
Yeah, and busted plays are going to be huge. Turnovers and busted plays.
Right.
I mean, Chargers should not be able to move the ball consistently on this 49er defense. They really shouldn't.
Even with the injuries? Even
with the Niner injuries up front. I mean, they're down a couple receivers. Let me ask you about, and they're down a couple of their tackles. I mean, Slater's their best offensive lineman. He's out. They're down 2 O-linemen. They're down 2 starting wide receivers. They don't have, offensively, I don't look at this Charger team. I mean, the Falcons, for example, did not have an overpowering defense. But the Falcons, what did they score last week against the Falcons? I mean, they won the game, but it was a low-scoring game. So they didn't explode against the Falcons. No. Now here comes the Niner defense, which is number 1, and I expect the Niners defense to rule the day. Here's the question, though. How good is Justin Herbert? Because he's an interesting quarterback. If you say, hey, name 100, we go out on the patio here and say 100 NFL fans, who's the best quarterback in football? And they're going to say Mahomes. They're going to say Josh Allen. And then somebody's going to say Justin Herbert.
Right. You're right.
His name's going to come up.
No question.
And so I got to throw out the question. Is he overrated or underrated? He's had 40 career starts. You know what his record is?
No.
20-20. He's a 500 quarterback. He's got the big time arm. He's 6'6", 240. He's got the moss, as Dennis Eckersley likes to say. He's got the long hair, and he's got the Beach Boy looks.
Right.
And but he's 500.
How much is that?
66% completion percentage, 82 touchdowns, 30 interceptions, 6'6", 240. Everybody loves him. And yet, does he win? I mean, it's not like he's been on bad teams. The Chargers have a lot of talent. 20-20. I mean, he's a 500 quarterback.
Oh, wow, you're going to go there with my Herbert?
That's what he is.
No, he is. They say you are what your record says you are. I get that.
I mean, he's 500 right now.
Okay.
He looks the part.
Okay,
he's definitely past
You know what? Hey, he's pretty in the face. He's slim in the waist. He's got the pretty hair.
He looks exactly central casting.
Hey, leave
he's
Herbert
the guy.
Why are you hating on the man?
No,
you hating on this bravado. He's good.
I'm asking you more than anything.
Well, you know, who's better looking, him or Jimmy? I mean, put it out there. I mean, is this where you're going? Is this where you're trying to get to? I mean,
exactly.
Who's your guy? Who's
you
better?
Saw me, you saw
get the
me
text line
working.
9595. Who's the better looking, Jimmy or Herbert? My goodness,
everybody says that it's Mahomes and it's Allen, and then they go quickly to Herbert.
I don't know if they
500. He has that. What has he really done?
Well, I think you look at the kid in Cincinnati and you say, you throw him in that mix too. You look at the quarterback, what he's done, but for Cincinnati, for the first year, were they that good? And you looked at what he was able to do. So now when you're saying that, though, so put Herbert on the Niners team with the defense. So you're saying that Herbert has the talent? That he has
he's got great talent.
So compare the defenses. So you put Herbert on this team, and you think about the defenses he had. Look at Herbert. He hasn't played with Keenan last year. Keenan was hurt. This year, Keenan's hurt. So you're telling Herbert now you couldn't even name receivers. You just were talking about how bad their receiving core is, and he's still able to make plays. And even the last several weeks, Keenan hadn't played since week 2. He still threw for over 400 yards against Kansas City. So I understand Herbert at times maybe doesn't look as good, but if you look at the defense, he's never had a top 10 defense. He's never been have a top, So when you think about that and you say, well, his record's 20-20, but it's.
They got a pretty good D though. When you're talking about Derwin James, Joey Bosa.
Go put their stats up.
No, the stats are bad. I'll tell you what the stats are. They're bad.
Derwin James, he gave up more touchdowns. I mean, this guy, you brought him in to do a bunch of stuff, and you look at injuries. Their defense has not been. They're one of the worst defenses against rush.
The Chargers are 21st in the league in total D. They're 29th against the run. They're mid-pack against the pass. But a lot of people feel like they're only mid-pack against the pass because they're so bad against the run that teams don't have to pass.
Exactly. So that's what I'm saying. But you were going on my man. You were going on Herbert. You were on his gizzard. You're on his neck. So I'm just showing you.
Is he? Are we ready to say he's elite?
No.
When people don't want to give Tua Tagovailoa a lot of credit, and a lot of people will say, "Well,
would you rather have him or Tua? Who would you rather have? Honestly.
Well, I'd rather have Herbert.
Me too.
I'd rather have Herbert, but Tua's won an awful lot more. I mean, going back to college, he won, and he's now winning with Miami. Miami's won what? Miami won again today. I think they won 4 or 5 in a row.
Is Miami a better team? So is it? Do you think
they're healthier?
Yeah,
they're healthier.
You look
That's
at Miami's.
The one thing. It's hard to evaluate the quarterback and what's going on around the quarterback. They're not a healthy football team.
You're right. Would you rather have Herbert or Jimmy?
Herbert.
I understand what you're saying, because I do understand what you're saying. You're saying, look, though, everyone's talking about elite. So
maybe he's not. My point is, maybe he ain't Mahomes. Maybe he ain't Allen.
Okay.
Maybe he's like the central casting quarterback who looks awesome, but at the end of the day, he wins one, loses one. Wins one, loses one. I mean, they went up against a pretty mediocre Falcon offense last week. They didn't light them up. Now, how much of that is the injuries? I mean, you don't have your tackles. If you took away Trent Williams, Mike McGlinchey, Deebo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk, how good are the Niners going to be?
And that's,
right? So I mean, I do get it. I'm just kind of throwing it out there more than anything. I know that Herbert looks the part. And I know, he had a play earlier this year. It was a 4th down play. He's backed up on his own goal line. He threads the needle between 2 guys and gets it out to the 50. They go down, kick a field goal. I forget what game it was. It ruined my parlay. But that's why I remember so distinctly.
No wonder you're not liking Herbert.
But I mean, it was impressive. I mean, there was very few quarterbacks that could put the ball on the hands in that tight a window with that kind of velocity. I mean, he seriously threw a 40-yard rope. I don't think it went 6 feet off the ground the entire time. This guy's got rare physical skills. But at the end of the day, he does have he's on a pretty good team, and he hasn't won a lot of football games. I guess it's my way of saying, Lo, is that I think the full spectrum of possibilities is out there tonight for what we may see from Herbert. If you told me that he's going to throw for 300 yards, Josh Palmer's going for 150 and 2 touchdowns, and he's going to light it up and roll out of here a victor, I wouldn't be shocked. If you told me that the Chargers struggled to get to 14 points and their offense went 3 and out and he looked uncomfortable and harassed and harangued by the Niner front all night long, I wouldn't be shocked by that either.
And you know what, though? The thing about what I can tell you is, I think the Niners should win this game, but I'm going to tell you right now, Herbert's good enough. He's going to make plays. He's that good. That's the thing. If you had Jimmy in this situation on the Chargers team with the lack of weapons that he has at receivers, backup guys, your best receivers and guys out, it'd be hard for you to say that, what can he do? But Herbert's going to make plays because his athletic ability and because he's that good of a quarterback. He's going to get his. Even though I think the Niners do have more firepower, Herbert is going to get his. You know, when you look at guys, you talked about guys like Josh Allen, and you watch a game like today.
By the way, so the game of the year, for those who didn't see it, was Vikings-Bills today.
No question.
Unbelievable game that went back and forth. Eventually, the Vikings beat the Bills in Buffalo in overtime.
What'd you think?
Well,
so we talk about
it was an unbelievably wild day. I mean, Justin Jefferson was unstoppable. I mean,
those catches,
the Bills stuffed the
4th and inches,
the 4th and inches play, and so then they get the ball with like less than a minute left on their own 1 yard line, and Allen with the bum elbow somehow doesn't handle the snap, and the Vikings fall on it in the end zone for a touchdown. And then the Bills get the ball back again, only needing a field goal to tie. They drive the length of the field, and they get the Tyler Bass field goal. It goes to overtime, and Minnesota ultimately wins it in overtime.
Was that the closest game to the Buffalo Wild Wings commercial that you've seen?
The announcer, I was listening to James White as I was driving down. James White, the former Patriot, was on the broadcast, and that's what he said.
Did he really?
He said, he's like,
wow.
Man, that was like the Buffalo Wild Wings commercial.
I didn't know. That's me right now. It's God. Two minds think alike.
Yeah.
But that's what I'm watching this and like, oh my goodness. And it was a good call. Cousins didn't get in on that 4th and inches. He did not get in.
No.
And boom, they fumble the ball, get the end zone. You think it's over. You think, oh my God.
People
Buffalo
left.
Yes, they left the stadium. It was Buffalo win. They were thinking it's over. And then Buffalo gets in field goal range to get the field goal to go overtime. And then the reason why I'm going with this is because you look at a guy who's everyone's criticized, and you look at Minnesota, and you think about the quarterback, who he is. He takes his team down. They get in field goal range, and they kick the field goal. Then Josh has the ball. They come all the way down. When you see that, and here's a guy that you say is a lead or this, what weapons? A lot of weapons. A good team around him. What separates? What are you looking for? How are you judging these when you look at the Herberts and Mahomes and
are you talking about Cousins or Allen?
Just Allen. When you talk about Allen, Mahomes, Cousins, Herbert. So putting Herbert, if Herbert was on that team, think about if Herbert. Kansas City is Mahomes to me. He's here, and then everyone else is. Is that safe to say? How do you look at it?
I think Mahomes and Allen are in that top tier, and I hate to say it because I think you got to give him credit for the way he's played this year. But I mean, Jalen Hurts might be right there in beneath there too. I mean, just based on what we've seen this year. But I would say the top tier is Mahomes and Josh Allen. They're 1-2. As far as Cousins hasn't won enough big games in his career, but he does have now Hawkinson at tight end. He's got Thielen, and he's got the best receiver going right now in Justin Jefferson.
Amazing.
And they got Dalvin Cook, and they got a decent defense. So, I mean, Minnesota's looking pretty good.
So just quarterback, those two quarterbacks.
I mean, and Allen, I think the difference, what does Allen and Mahomes do that the other guys can't do? I just think that they can make plays from the pocket with incredible throwing ability, but then they also can make plays with their legs.
Okay. So, I agree,
and they can do both, and they're so dynamic, and they're great decision makers. And
where do you put my guy? Where do you put my guy from Cincinnati? When you think about what he has to work with,
he's more of a pocket passer. He's more in the mold of Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers, and he's not. He's going to move a little bit in the pocket, but he's been sacked a ton. He's already had a career-altering type injury. So I think he is a really good young pocket passer in a league where I think
him and Herbert together?
I think you need to be a little bit more than just a pocket passer to win championships, unless you have an incredible D or an incredible run.
But look at that. They during your one Super. They had the Rams. I mean, that was a very competitive.
But the Rams D-line sacked him a ton in the biggest game, and the Rams won. And I just think that's an element that you're going to need. You're going to need the mobility to avoid the incredible athletes that are on the defensive side right now. So I'd put Burrow in that next tier, and I'd put Herbert in that next tier too.
Well, where's Lamar?
Lamar has been a disaster as far as can he come from behind in the playoffs. We know he can throw. When the Ravens are a classic bully team. When they're up, they can bully you. But can Lamar lead you back when you're down 17, when everybody in the joint knows he's got to throw the rock? So not yet. He hasn't proven that yet.
Okay.
He potentially can. And
is he with? So didn't you have?
That
you
would
have
vault
Lamar
him to the top tier.
Okay, so you have.
Isn't that next tier?
So you have this first tier, and then your second tier. It was Lamar in your third tier with him and Cousins.
No, I would say Lamar is in that second tier. He's not a pocket passer. He's an incredible mobile athlete.
So
we'll hit more on this.
Yeah, because I'm loving this, by the way.
Yeah, we'll get into more quarterback discussion. But up next, Borna Nazari joins us, Chargers insider. We'll get the Chargers side of things from Borna. Should be really interesting conversation. Chargers come in banged up. Niners coming off the bye. Both teams need a win desperately to hang in their respective playoff races. Who gets it done tonight? We continue breaking it down with Borna next on 95.7 The Game.
With Black Friday savings at the Home Depot, you can get top brand laundry sets with the latest tech to tackle any mess you might face this holiday, like automatic fabric and load size detection for spills of any size, from cookies and milk on your favorite holiday sweater to the toddler of the house discovering just how fun cranberry sauce can be. Make more magic this holiday season. Let your new appliances handle the mess. Shop Black Friday savings and get up to 30% off, plus instantly save up to $750 on select LG laundry sets at the Home Depot. How doers get more done. Offer valid November 2nd through 30th. U.S. only. See store or online for details.
Qatar, here we come.
Christian's travel agency has one goal.
Talk to you soon.
The world's biggest soccer tourney.
The hotel is 7 miles from the stadium. Are you serious? Did you email the transportation company?
Now he needs an Arabic interpreter on his roster.
I don't speak it either.
Indeed can help him hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. You can schedule and conduct virtual interviews all from your employer dashboard. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Black Friday is coming, and that's the smart time to shop for a top-rated TV from Samsung, LG, or Sony. But why wait? You can get those Black Friday TV deals right now at Video Only, and then enjoy Thanksgiving with your new TV. Still want to wait? Then how about better than Black Friday deals? The top-rated TVs at stupid low prices. Check out Video Only now before the rush, or you'll be sorry.
Hi, welcome to the IKEA Holiday Prep event. Here to help you host the season with offers, in-store workshops, and more.
Oh, great. I may have invited the whole neighborhood for the holidays.
Don't worry, you can do this. To start, IKEA family members save 20% on Venturfint Christmas tree decor and gift wrap.
You are my hero.
Visit us in-store or at IKEA-USA.com/holiday prep to get ready and save. Offer valid 11/9 to 11/23/22. U.S. only while supplies last. Selection may vary by store and online. Restrictions apply.
It's Pro Time, which means at Lowe's, you're invited to enjoy a Lowe's Pro Happy Hour. Kick back with free Pepsi Cola drinks and Frito-Lay snacks. Plus, earn 3 times bonus points per dollar on purchases of select Pepsi products. Come into Lowe's and get the full MVP treatment at Pro Happy Hour on November 17th from 2 to 5 p.m. While supplies last. Bonus points offer valid 10/27 through 12/8. Calculated before taxes and fees after applicable discounts, if any. See Lowe's.com/L/Pro Loyalty Terms.
AT&T Fiber presents a straightforward moment inspired by straightforward pricing.
And now we just cube the pancetta as such.
So what's on the menu tonight?
This carbonara I found online. It's fire. You gonna love it, Mom.
I hope you hold on to this AT&T Fiber, son. It's nice.
Yeah, you should settle down now that you're a good gillionaire.
Oh, I am. I finally found the one internet I've been looking for my whole life.
So, no more one-year stands?
No, I'm done with all that. With AT&T Fiber, there's no price increase at 12 months.
What about equipment fees?
Nope.
Those were never any good for you.
Exactly. But now everything's completely straightforward.
Well, in the spirit of being straightforward, I never liked any of your old ones.
Me neither. Look, y'all never told me that. But we're being straightforward now, which feels good, yeah?
Yeah. Now let's get straightforward about that girl he's been seeing.
Straightforward is better. No equipment fees, no data caps, no price increase at 12 months. Live like a gagillionaire with AT&T Fiber. Limited availability in select areas. Visit att.com/hypergig for details.
Alice at 97.3 is celebrating the return of Alice in Winterland. Friday, December 2nd at the SAP Center in San Jose. Starring John Mayer. One Republic.
See you at Alice in Winterland.
Matt Nathanson. Plus more to be added. Tickets on sale now at Ticketmaster. Get everything Alice in Winterland at radioalice.com.
Football season is here. The new Odyssey app lets you stay connected to your NFL team, your station, your shows. Follow your favorite stations and come back again and again. Get real-time updates on everything you care about. Miss your show? Jump back to their awesome rewind feature. The Odyssey app is NFL football. Live and on demand. Wherever you are, whenever you want. And did we mention it's all free? Download the Odyssey app today.
The Wendy's $3 breakfast deal is here. Get a bacon or sausage, egg, and Swiss croissant, plus a small seasoned potatoes. That's a better breakfast for just $3 in 3 easy steps. 1, wake up. 2, get out of bed. And 3, head to Wendy's for your $3 breakfast deal. Choose wisely. Choose Wendy's $3 breakfast deal.
Limited time only. Participating U.S. Wendy's during breakfast hours. Select or request $3 breakfast deal in order to obtain discount. Not valid for a la carte or combos orders. Price and participation may vary in Alaska and Hawaii.
At the Home Depot, we have Black Friday savings all through November. And with that comes a joyful holiday bustle that we just love to hear. Although we also love the sound that comes after the holidays. When people put their new tools to use. In fact, we love it so much. When you buy select Milwaukee M18 kits, you'll get an extra tool for free. So after you're done filling the air with holiday magic, you can fill it with the sounds of doing. The Home Depot. How doers get more done.
Tune in to 95.7 The Game for Warriors Live, 60 minutes before tip-off of every Warriors game. Brought to you by Xfinity. Supercharge your home with supersonic Wi-Fi. Unbeatable internet, only from Xfinity.
Here's to Prilosec OTC. Just 1 pill each morning and no heartburn all day. My holiday hero.
Prilosec OTC. 1 pill a day, 24 hours, 0 heartburn. It's possible while taking Prilosec OTC. Use as directed for 14 days to treat frequent heartburn, not for immediate relief.
You're listening to 95.7 The Game, KGMZ FM at HD1 San Francisco. Always live on the free Odyssey app. Now back to the Kickoff Show with Larry Krueger and Lorenzo Neal on 95.7 The Game. Sponsored by Jim Beam Bourbon Whiskey. Taste the world's #1 bourbon. And by Harris Ranch Beef. Legendary beef, legendary quality.
Welcome back to the Kickoff Show. Larry Krueger and Lone Neal getting you ready for the Niners and the Chargers. And the inactive list is out. And the one question that we had, Lo, was Samson Ebukam going to be up and active, or was he going to be inactive? Well, the 49ers have made him inactive. So no Ebukam, no Eric Armstead, and, of course, no Javon Kinlaw. The 49ers are down 3/4 of their starting defensive line tonight against the Los Angeles Chargers. And joining us to talk a little bit about the Chargers is Borna Nazari, a Charger insider who joins us on 95.7 The Game. Borna, thanks for a few minutes.
Thanks for having me, gentlemen. How you doing?
Hey, we're doing fantastic, and we're trying to make an argument for or against. I was asking the question: Is Justin Herbert an overrated quarterback who's 500 in his career, or is he an underrated quarterback who's got all the tools and his record has been impacted by things out of his control?
Oh, man, that's the $1 million question, right? Because, I mean, you look at Justin Herbert, 6'5", 6'6", got an absolute cannon of an arm, and you take a look, he's got all the intangibles, but as you said, you look at that record and you're like, why can't this guy, start winning some games? And, I think it's a plethora of things related to Justin Herbert and his success or maybe lack thereof. I think a lot of people point to offensive coordinator Joe Lombardi, who doesn't like throwing the ball more than 5-10 yards down the field. I think another thing with Herbert that we've seen this year is the rib injury. He suffered week 2 in Kansas City, and he hasn't really been the same since. And you really saw Justin Herbert kind of look like the Justin Herbert of old last week in that game-winning drive against the Atlanta Falcons. So it's a lot of question marks so far with Justin Herbert, because he does some things at times where you're like, oh my goodness, not any other quarterback in the league can make that throw. But then you look at some games where you're like, what's going on? I think one thing I've learned with Justin Herbert is that he's a very momentum-based quarterback. He needs to see 2, 3, 4, 5 completions in a row. And I think the offensive game plan doesn't allow him to kind of build that momentum, which is why you haven't seen him have that consistent success.
And how much is it when you think about what he's doing and what he's able to do and what he's not able to do is with the offensive line? Has it been some inconsistency, and what has been the biggest inconsistency of the offensive line? And also, two-part question with the receivers. Keenan Allen hadn't played pretty much in a year or so, right?
Yeah, and you know what? The consistency problem isn't performance-based. The consistency problem is what? It's health-based. And it seems like this is year in and year out with the Chargers. The Chargers lost their starting left tackle, Rashawn Slater, who was the best left tackle in football last year behind your guy in Trent Williams, right? So that's a guy who's been absolutely fantastic for the Chargers. They've been moving around pieces on that offensive line ever since Justin Herbert came into this league. And then for the first time, Justin Herbert's had to deal with big-time losses in the receiving corps. You saw Keenan, and we talked about this low about his kind of hamstring that, it's kind of maybe chronic where that, we thought he was day-to-day in week 2. This is, week 9, week 10, and we're still not having Keenan Allen. And then Mike Williams as well, who's a big-game receiver who makes big-time plays, but he has not been able to stay on the field. So going back to your first question, it's hard to evaluate Justin Herbert when he's throwing the ball to Joshua Palmer and Gerald Everett. With all due respect to those guys, those aren't the guys that the Chargers have paid hundreds of millions of dollars to help number 10 elevate his play. So sure, Justin Herbert needs to do better in his own right in some regard, but man, he ain't getting much help, from a health perspective with the skill position players outside of Austin Eckler.
Yeah, and no Keenan Allen tonight, no Mike Williams. Chargers are on their third kicker, and Keelan Doss, the UC Davis kid, he's also inactive. I mean, I've never even recognized even some of these names. Michael Bandy, Jason Moore. I remember Josh Palmer a little bit from Tennessee, but I got to think that this is going to be a heavy dose of Austin Eckler and maybe a little mix in of Gerald Everett and Joshua Palmer. How are the Chargers going to move the ball against the number 1 defense in the league tonight?
Yeah, again, that's a very tough question, and I think that's why you see the 49ers as big-time favorites, and I think you hit it right on the head. Austin Eckler has been everything and some that the Chargers have wanted when they signed him to that 4-year, $24 million extension. A lot of people question the departure of Melvin Gordon. I think Tom Telesco and company reassured many of us why they gave this much commitment to Austin Eckler. Not only he can do it in the backfield, he can do it catching the ball. And that's the thing. What we have noticed, though, right, it all revolves back to Justin Herbert. What did you see with Patrick Mahomes today? What do you see with the great quarterbacks? They can lose a Juju Smith-Schuster. They can lose their number 1 weapons. They can make other guys look, seamless transition. You saw the day Kadarius Toney had with the Chiefs. That's fully Patrick Mahomes. So can Justin Herbert elevate those guys to make us forget about the loss of Keenan Allen and Mike Williams? Sure, you're not going to be able to replace them, in full force, but can Justin Herbert elevate those guys, and can this offense get into a rhythm? But the main engine of that, no doubt, is Austin Eckler.
How would and when you're looking at the Niners, you think about what they've done when they went out and got Christian McCaffrey. You look at Debo, the return of Debo, and the offensive weapons. The Chargers, how are they going to slow down? What is going to be the key to slowing this Niner offense down, in your opinion?
You know what? I mean, it's something that the Chargers have struggled with all year, and stopping the run. That is the key to the Chargers' success. It is the key to winning the battle of time of possession. CMC, Debo, they're going to be running head-on against this Chargers front four. And this Chargers front four, is a front four where this team spent a ton of money and draft capital. They brought in Khalil Mack. They signed Sebastian Joseph Day. They signed Austin Johnson. Yet they've still been in the bottom third of the league when it comes to stopping the run. So that's the key to the game for the Chargers. Can something change tonight? Can they find a way to make Jimmy G have to beat them in the air? And if the Chargers are able to get to that point, then they have a chance to win this game in San Francisco.
Well, it's going to be really interesting. What do you think of the Charger offensive line? I saw Trey Pipkins, the right tackle's out. So does that mean Storm Norton steps in, and is it going to be a rough night for Storm?
Yeah. So Nick Bosa is going to be eating a lot of Storm Norton. I'll tell you that. Okay, I'll tell you that Storm Norton, with all due respect, has really struggled with this time with the Chargers. He's a swing tackle. You kind of place him whenever there's injury. But Tom Telesco has prided this team off their depth, but unfortunately we don't have a lot of depth on the offensive line. Fortunately for the Chargers, on the left tackle, they have a 6th-round pick out of George Jamari Saylor, who's been absolutely awesome. I mean, he's been an absolute revelation. So they actually have some pieces who are able to replace Rashawn Slater. But the San Francisco 49ers, they are circling Storm Norton's name, and they are going to attack him at all costs. Even if the Chargers try and help chip Nicky B a little bit, it's not going to be enough. So I think the biggest key to this game are, will the Niners be able to exploit that Storm Norton matchup? The odds say no doubt about it, but obviously time will tell in a few hours.
Barnett, when you think about this matchup, you talked about offense and defensively. There's one thing that I'd like to talk about in special teams. How do you look at this special teams matchup? Is the Chargers, is that where they have an advantage? And what do you see on the special teams as far as both these teams?
Well, Lolo, you always tell me, right, it's not offense and defense. It is 3 phases of the game, right? It's offense, defense, and special teams. And this special teams unit has been something that's actually plagued this Chargers organization for a long time, but they've actually been pretty good this year on the special teams front. I'm probably winning them 2-3 out of their 5 wins, and we've talked about it. It hasn't been pretty for the Chargers at all this year, but they are somehow 5-3 with things looking in front of them. J.K. Scott's had a pretty good year, a guy they get from Green Bay who went to Alabama. And, of course, Cameron Dicker the kicker. What a story, right? The 3rd kicker of the year for the Chargers, right? This is a guy who's replacing Dustin Hopkins, who's hurt, who was kind of riding on some confidence, hit a game-winning field goal last week in the ATL. So listen, I actually don't think special teams is an issue for the Chargers. I actually think it's where they do have a competitive edge. It's actually been their strongest units of the year. If the team gets into a situation where they have a chance to win the game in a 2-minute drill, I'd say sign me up. The Chargers are actually exceeding in that department.
Well, there's a couple of real difference makers on this defense, even though, it's not a stellar defense if you look at the numbers. I mean, Khalil Mack is just, he's just a natural. He's got great hands and great strength, great quickness. Asante Samuel's as good a corner, I think, as you're going to find in the league. I mean, as far as, just cover ability. And then Derwin James. I wanted to get your thoughts on Derwin James. How is Ronaldo Hill, the defensive coordinator, utilizing Derwin James? Because, this is a guy with a varied skill set. I mean, you could play him as a weak side backer. Heck, I think I'd feel confident lining him up on the corner and letting him play man-to-man. Press man coverage and take my chances there. But he's a strong safety, but that's only in name. How do they utilize him?
This is the best analogy for Derwin James. He's a queen chess piece. You can play him high, you can play him low, you can play him left, you can play him right, you can play him whatever. And that's who Derwin James is for the Chargers. When we talk about our divisional games against Kansas City, we talk about how Derwin James is the only guy in the league who can neutralize Travis Kelce one-on-one, and that's kind of a similar matchup when you're looking at George Kittle against Derwin James. He has the size of a linebacker. He hits with force like a middle linebacker, but he's got the agility, the speed to cover any receiver in the game, whether that's Brandon Ayuk, whether that's Deebo Samuel. Derwin James is the most valuable player on this defense. Unfortunately for the Chargers, they don't have 11 of him on the field, right? You can only play him in some areas, but Derwin James has been the key to this Chargers defense just staying afloat, right, and finding a way. And as you said it as well, Asante Samuel Jr., this is the guy they took in the 2nd round last year out of Florida State, who struggled a little bit, especially in press coverage his rookie year, but the Chargers have found success with him, and with J.C. Jackson's struggles and his injury, the team has full conviction that, ASJ can be their true man-to-man number 1 corner.
With that being said, when you look at Derwin James, you talk about what he is on defense. He's a stopper. He can run stopper. He can do it all, can guard. Do you see him on Kittle tonight? Do you think they'll put linebackers, or would you match up Derwin James and put him on Kittle?
I think, right? I mean, you would think Derwin James, is going to be on George Kittle tonight. This is a guy that they love to put, especially against the elite tight ends of the National Football League. But I think it's really matchup dependent. If Deebo finds early success on Samuel Jr., then they're going to, shade Derwin James. Derwin James is kind of the guy where Brandon Staley's going to circle and be like, who's getting exposed on our defense early on? What Niners skill player is finding early success? Once we're able to establish who that is, then I think Staley's going to adjust and kind of shade Derwin James wherever that may be. But again, I mentioned it. Unfortunately for the Chargers, they only got one of him, right? So, but it's going to be interesting because, Lo, I know you talked about it. The Niners have a lot of guys returning, right? First time Debo's going to be playing with CMC. No one's really talking about how, outside of San Francisco, how awesome of a year Brandon Ayuk is having, right? So there's a ton of weapons that these Niners have. It's going to really be up to these Chargers skilled players on defense to shut them down.
Yeah, no, Ayuk is hot coming in. Herbert is interesting from the standpoint of this guy's been without Keenan Allen since week 1, and yet he's still throwing over 280 yards a game. He's got 13 touchdowns, 5 picks. The one thing that is something's got to give in this game between these two teams is pace. The 49ers run a very slow pace. I think they're 26th in the league in pace, where the Chargers play fast. They lead the NFL in pace. And I'm just kind of wondering if you think that is a special design because they haven't had Keenan, so they're trying to maybe take you off your game a little bit by having, Joe Lombardi having Herbert and that offense play at a breakneck pace. Do you expect that to continue tonight?
Yeah, I don't think it's because of that, though. I think the reason this Charger team wants to play with pace is because they've been kind of trying to establish a rhythm for Justin Herbert this year, and they just haven't been able to. I mentioned this kind of earlier in our segment. If Justin Herbert has 4, 5, 6 completions in a row that are not checkdowns, you better watch out. I mean, this is a guy, I think, who's one of the best momentum-driven quarterbacks in the league, and I think that's why this team tries to emphasize their pace so they can try and get him in that direction where he can just be truly going, at that rate. And, you mentioned that as well. Big part of the pace is, this Charger team, it hasn't been really able to establish the run game at all this year, and that's been a big issue. So I know you mentioned that Herbert is thrown for 280 yards. Some of these games, though, he's throwing almost 60 times a game.
Right.
So it's a little bit skewed when we're really looking at his passing yards because this team has failed to establish the run, which is what's making it harder for Herbert to truly, be elite in the air game. So I think we have to kind of take a look at those numbers and be like, pause. Why is he throwing the ball 60 yards per game? So it's kind of the deal with that.
Last question before I let you go. Give us your final. What's the score? How's this game turn out?
Listen, I think the 49ers are going to win this game. It kind of gives me, a 23-17 kind of vibe. I think it's going to be a close game. I don't think this is a time where the 49ers are going to be easily beating this Charger team. Here's what I'll tell people about the Chargers. For as bad as it's been, for as easy it is to criticize Coach Staley, the injuries, how bad it's been, this team's 5-3. And if the Chargers win tonight, they have a chance to be the number 1 overall seed in the AFC with the win against Kansas City at home next week. Just to put it into perspective for everybody. So you can't discount them. However, this is a matchup nightmare for the Chargers. Matchup-wise. I mean, this is a Niner team who loves to pound it down your throat, right? And this Charger team really, really struggles defending the run. They haven't been really great, establishing a momentum-based offense. And quite frankly, the injuries are just decimating the Chargers versus the Niners. At least they're slowly starting to get us some of their big guys back. So I do have the Niners winning this game. However, I don't think it'll be an easy breeze W machine for the Niners.
Yeah, no, I hear you. I think turnovers are going to be the key factor. Borna, thanks for giving us your time. Thanks for chopping it up with us. We'll talk to you.
Likewise, gentlemen. Be well.
Borna Nazari, Charger Insider. A lot of interesting stuff there.
Yeah.
And it is interesting from the standpoint of, the Chargers have not played well, but like you've been on a lot of different teams in a lot of different seasons. But as he just stated there at the end, they're 5-3.
Yeah.
So it's easy for a coach to look around the room and go, guys, look around. We've lost some guys. Things have not gone according to plan. But I expect the Chargers to hit the field tonight, fly around and make plays because, it all is not lost. They have not given up the ship. They're right in the midst of things. If they can play fast and physical and get a couple turnovers, they could steal this one tonight.
They really can, and I'm glad you mentioned that, and that's why I'm glad Barney came on to kind of, let people understand this is not a layup. This Charger team, they're finding a way. They're 5-3. They're finding a way to win.
They were a chic Super Bowl pick in the preseason.
And even though the injuries, they're still finding a way to win. And you think about several weeks ago, at home, who came to town? You and I sat in the same spot, and we talked about Kansas City.
Yeah.
Saying they're getting ready to play an elite team. Kansas City smacked the Niners from Timbuktu from jump. Just, only punted the ball one time, and that was in the fourth quarter with the game already over.
Right.
The punter didn't even punt. It couldn't stop them. You look at the Chargers, went to Kansas City, and had a chance to win that game if they don't throw that interception when the guy's trying to come out of the game and he quits on the route and pick six goes opposite way. That was a 10-point swing. Chargers looked like they were going to be. So you look at the competitive side with Chargers and Kansas City, that was anybody's game. That was a game for the so when you think about just the matchup, so I think Niner fans, they have to realize, even though the Chargers are not necessarily a dominant defense, this is a good matchup, and I guarantee you, Coach, on the Niners coach, I guarantee you, Shanahan saying, boys, if you think this is going to be easy tonight, don't come out. This is going to be a physical game. This is going to be a game, guys, that this Charger team believes they have a chance. They're always in the game because they have a quarterback that can get it done. And this team has been playing. They played some good ball. And you look at, they're going to play that Kansas City team, and you're going to show, I guarantee you, this Niner team said, let's watch this Kansas City team against the Chargers. Look what the Chargers did. They gave them everything, and we got rough. So it's going to be an interesting matchup.
Yeah, no question. I think the Niners have the advantage on the line of scrimmage.
Yeah.
When you look at this Charger depth chart, Kenneth Murray, the former Oklahoma Sooners at inside backer. You got Khalil Mack. You got Kyle Van Noy. Van Noy's one of the smarter players in the league. Then let's go into the secondary. Asante Samuel, Derwin James, Nazir Adderley was a second-round pick. Really good player. Michael Davis, Bryce Callahan. There's some decent players in their secondary for sure. So I think that back seven for the Chargers looks pretty good. And then on the other side of the ball for the Chargers, their O-line has struggled, and hopefully Storm Norton can have a long night against Nick Bosa. But you still look at the guys who handle the ball. Yeah, there's no Mike Williams and there's no Keenan Allen, but you still got Gerald Everett. Yep. You still got Herbert, who's having a good year statistically, and you got Austin Eckler and Isaiah Spiller in the backfield. And this Xander Horvath was a really good collegiate player. So, a big physical upright runner, but a guy who's not easy to bring down in short yardage. And Palmer's coming off a 100-yard day against the Falcons. Yeah. He had 8 catches last week for 100 yards. So the Chargers do bring some momentum for sure into this game. Couple thoughts before we take the time out here. Up next, we're going to get into the top 10 plays of the year. And I also want to get your thoughts on a little bit more on this matchup. We'll go keys to victory. I'll also go scores around week 10. We haven't taken a look at the scores yet. But one of the discussion points that came up this week that I want to get your thoughts on, Lo, in the final part of this segment is Jay Glazer says that the OBJ, Odell Beckham Jr., who's out there rehabbing his injury, that things could get hot and heavy with Odell very, very soon, maybe as soon as this week. And it's down to playoff caliber teams. Niners, Dallas, New York Giants in the NFC, Kansas City, and I believe Buffalo have all been in the mix or named in the mix. Von Miller's been trying to recruit him to Buffalo. Saquon Barkley's trying to bring him back to New York. Yeah. Supposedly he loves Kyle Shanahan. He's got a relationship with Jimmy Garoppolo. But he's kind of biding his time. And the reports say that he's biding his time to see kind of who emerges out of maybe a weekend like this one as a true Super Bowl contender going forward, because he's ring chasing at this point. Yeah. What do you think of OBJ? Are you in any way dissatisfied with what the 49ers are getting out of Juwan Jennings? Because there were some whispers early in the week that maybe the Niners weren't thrilled with what they're getting out of Jennings, and that this might be a response to that.
I think Jennings is one of the most physical receivers on the team. I think he blocks downfield. I love Jennings' attitude, how he plays. I watch him. He's that Swiss Army knife for the Niners. People don't talk about Jennings enough of what he brings to the table as far as you want to line him up and block and do the things. He does the dirty work as a receiver. I just don't think there's enough balls for this organization to bring in a guy like that. Now, is he a player? Yes. Even if healthy, do I still bring him in? No. Because you already have Ayuk, and Ayuk is coming into his own. And look at Debo, what you have there, and you have some speedy receivers, and you got Christian McCaffrey. You don't have enough balls to go around right now to bring in a guy like that to disturb. You have plenty of offensive firepower. I would go and say, you know what? Try to get another offensive line. Try to get another tackle. Go get somebody in the trenches. Go get a defensive lineman. I would not do it. I don't think this is a good fit for the Niners. I think the Niners are set. They have a plethora of weapons at receivers. They got a plethora of weapons at running back. I just don't think that he would be a good fit in this. Not that he couldn't play and not that he couldn't help, but do you really need him right now? And I don't think so.
Jennings made some big catches for the Niners last year, and yeah, he runs 4.7. Odell is definitely quicker. Odell's got better ball skills, but yeah, I kind of agree with you though. I think that the need is at D tackle. The need is on the corner.
Yes.
The need is not another wide receiver with a big ego saying, "Hey, where are my touches?" Right. So that's a big part of it as well. All right. We'll give you a couple betting angles on this game coming up next. We'll also talk about what were the top 10 plays of the year, and then we'll get into the keys to victory as we turn for home. 49ers and Chargers, national TV audience tonight. 49ers looking to come out of the bye and get that second half rolling and maybe roll towards a Super Bowl championship. We'll talk more about the matchup next. Lo Neal, Larry Krueger with you on 95.7 The Game.
At Harris Ranch, we do beef, just like we've done for over 50 years. Beef that's raised locally right here in California. The flavor you crave, the quality you trust time after delicious time. Harris Ranch, we do beef.
Kansas City Steak Company, another AmericanEagle.com success story. Started in 1932 as a family-owned butcher shop, today they're a leading distributor of superior all-American steaks delivered right to your door, ready for the grill and your taste buds. When it came to their website, an average site wouldn't do. They chose AmericanEagle.com to take their website to the next level. With a dramatic increase in competition and a softening market demand, they had two challenges: improve their brand presence and message, and produce a positive return. AmericanEagle.com got to work and executed usability studies and detailed audits of site experience, digital assets, and marketing. The result? An integrated digital marketing and customer experience plan, organic traffic increase of 20%, and a long-term roadmap for success. If you love great steaks, go to KansasCitySteaks.com for website design, development, and online solutions that bring efficiency and results. Visit AmericanEagle.com. If you need a results-driven website, call the team at AmericanEagle.com at 877-WEBNOW1. That's 877-WEBNOW1.
Chris Cuomo is back with a new show on a new network. Catch Cuomo weeknights on News Nation at 5 and 8 p.m. Pacific. To find News Nation on your television provider, go to newsnationnow.com/join us.
Tune in to 95.7 The Game for Warriors Live, 60 minutes before tip-off of every Warriors game. Brought to you by Xfinity. Supercharge your home with supersonic Wi-Fi. Unbeatable internet, only from Xfinity.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
With car prices at an all-time high, our donors are now getting highest receipts ever. Donate at carsforkids.org and your car can be picked up tomorrow.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Now accepting donations of land, homes, buildings, or any kind of real estate.
Hi, this is Stephanie from Safeway with great news. You can earn Safeway rewards with each purchase you make. Then use your rewards for discounts on groceries or up to 20 cents off per gallon in gas rewards at participating Chevron or Texaco stations and up to $1 off per gallon at participating Safeway fuel stations. Not a member? Register for an account with your phone number at checkout and start earning rewards today. Restrictions and exclusions apply. Learn more at Safeway.com/for-you. This is Stephanie from Safeway, and we'll see you soon.
This year's ratings of the best TVs just got published, and Samsung, LG, and Sony scored the highest. Also, they warned about the poor performance of the bargain brands promoted at some stores. So where can you get the best deal on the top-rated TVs? At the club? Online? Nope. At Video Only. They've got their better than Black Friday deals on right now. Don't be sorry. Check out Video Only before you buy.
Everyone can boost their digital confidence with NordVPN. All it takes is one simple click.
NordVPN will block online trackers, hide your virtual location, and secure your devices from malware-infected files during downloads. It will also detect malicious websites. So catch the Black Friday deal for a 1 or 2 year plan at NordVPN.com and get 3 months for free. NordVPN, cybersecurity built for every day.
At the United States Postal Service, we're here to deliver fast and reliable service to help you get holiday ready. We offer free package pickup and deliver free shipping supplies to your address. So whether you're in Garland, Texas, Rudolph, Wisconsin, or anywhere in between, we're making it easier for you to spread festive cheer this holiday season. USPS, delivering for America. For all your holiday needs, including info about free shipping supplies, free package pickup availability, and restrictions, go to USPS.com/holidays.
Where can you start holiday shopping now for a season full of savings? Lowe's, actually. Find prices you loved backed by the Lowe's Price Promise, like the 4-piece LG stainless steel kitchen suite was $4,267, now $2,986, for a total savings of $1,281. Check back daily for deals during Black Friday month and start saving now at Lowe's. Home to any possibility. Offer valid through 11/16. Terms and exclusions apply. See store for details. Learn more at Lowe's.com/price promise. Where can you light up the tree and the savings? Lowe's, actually. Find deals on endless festive holiday decor, like 20% off all pre-lit artificial trees and endless gifts found only at Lowe's. Like the new Cobalt 257-piece mechanics tool set for $99, valued over $600 if purchased separately. Check back daily for deals during Black Friday month and start saving now at Lowe's. Home to any possibility. Offer valid through 11/16. While supplies last. Selection varies by location.
California, you deserve more. And with United Healthcare, you'll get more. Annual enrollment is October 15th through December 7th. So call United Healthcare today. With the United Healthcare Medicare Advantage Plan, you get more from your Medicare dollar, now including better than ever dental, vision, over-the-counter, and prescription drug coverage. Call United Healthcare at 1-888-CALL-UHC today and speak with a licensed sales agent. Benefits, features, and/or devices vary by plan and area. Limitations and exclusions apply.
Now back to the Kickoff Show with Larry Krueger and Lorenzo Neal on 95.7 The Game. Sponsored by Jim Beam Bourbon Whiskey. Taste the world's #1 bourbon. And by Harris Ranch Beef. Legendary beef, legendary quality.
There you go. Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. 49ers and Chargers go tonight here at Levi's. We're across the street from Levi's. We're live at the Hilton in Santa Clara. Larry Krueger joined by Lo Neal, the future Hall of Fame fullback, on 95.7 The Game. Niners are 4-4. Chargers are 5-3. Both teams very much alive in their respective playoff races. Before we get into actually the keys to victory in this thing, a couple betting angles for those who may be wagering on the game. Sunday Night Football unders this year are 7-2. So I would lean towards the under in this game, especially with the Chargers probably going to throw the ball underneath. Herbert hasn't completed a pass more than 20 yards in the air in 3 weeks. So he's going to throw it a ton underneath. Niners are going to run it, you would think, a lot against this Charger challenge run D. So expect the under. And so unders this year, as I said, 7-2 this year, 36, 23-2 over the past 4 seasons for Sunday Night Football. Primetime unders on the year. It's been one of the real angles on the year for the gamblers. 17, 10-1 primetime unders this year, and 65, 45-2 over the last 4 seasons. So just a couple trends. And then Kyle Shanahan, just to mix you up a little bit, has struggled as a home favorite since he's been the head coach of the Niners. 8-15-1, 34 or 24% or 34% win percentage for Shanahan. 8-15-1 as a home favorite. The Niners are a home favorite tonight. All right. If I said to you, I saw a list this week of the 10 best plays of the first half of the season for the 49ers. How many of the top 10 plays, Lo, do you think you could guess from this season?
You know what?
It's hard. It's hard.
Yeah.
You're talking about individual plays.
Well, I know Debo's play several weeks ago, that middle screen that he took to the house, he made against the Rams.
Now, that was, they say, the best play of the year. Debo's 57-yard touchdown catch and run against the Rams in Week 4. Best play of the year, they're saying, for the 49ers.
That was awesome. I think that you got to, believe it or not, one of the best plays of the year has to be, the without a doubt, the pick six.
Which one? Mosley's or Fonga's?
I'm going with Fonga. I think when you look at Fonga, even though it's a losing effort, I think that was pretty. I'd go with Fonga in there.
I would have made that the number one highlight, actually. It was a Fonga's pick six of Matthew Stafford at Levi's in Week 4 against the Rams. He jumped the hitch.
That was great. It
was a little hitch route.
Yeah.
He timed it perfectly and made a house call.
Yeah.
So I thought that was, and if you watch it again, his break is it's so much about film study. He was looking for it. He was sniffing it out, and then he got his indicator and he let it go. And I talked to Jimmy Ward after that game, or after the next week in practice, and he's like, you know what? With Huff, they're talking about Talanoa. He's like, he does tons of film study, and when he sees it, he says there's zero hesitation in his game. He said he's never seen a player this young have this little hesitation when he sees it, and he's so dialed into the game plan that's so whatever he ran. I think he ran 4.6 or 4.7 or whatever he ran. Throw that out the door because. Right. That's film study.
No question.
He's flowing in the right direction.
No question. He understood what they were doing. He knows where the play's going because he's watching film. He's like, okay, this is the line mation. Here's the alignment. Here's the 2x2. I understand when they got the 2x2. This is what's coming. They're doing the crossing, and he's already seeing it. So he's like, I'm going to beat it there. So I know that play was there without a doubt. Believe it or not, you got a guy you brought in 2 weeks ago, and he's made 2 highlights, and you know who that is. They brought in McCaffrey. I guarantee McCaffrey's on this list. What he's been able to do in this short period of time being here, absolutely he's on the list.
Which play was better? Because the list that I saw had the Garoppolo lateral to McCaffrey, the double pass, who then passed to Ayuk against the Rams.
But I think
that's number 2.
Yeah,
that's number 2 on the list.
That was sweet.
That was sweet. But I would say
the catch,
the improvisational play that he made with Garoppolo, where he wasn't really in the progression. He was just hanging out, spreading the field, and then he just
Kittle thought it was going to be to him, looked like it was, and he just goes up and gets it.
I don't know. The vertical there was incredible.
The vertical was unbelievable. But how he set down, you saw the safety. So he has a check down. So he sneaks out kind of on a check down, and then the safety's there, the corner's there. And then what he does, he sees the safety or the corner squats and kind of so now he sees Jimmy starts to get in a little trouble, and he just drifts. And he doesn't go full speed, because if he takes off, he's going to run and cover himself up.
Right.
So he just drifts, and Jimmy floats it, and he goes up and gets it and climbs the ladder.
He went way up.
He went way up, way. He threw that one down. That play should be on that list too.
Yeah. So now we basically have 1, 2, 3, and 4. So I'll give you the rest of the list.
Yeah, that's all I got for you. I did good though, right?
You got the top 4.
Okay.
You got the top 4.
Gosh.
All right, here's 5 through 10. Debo's long run up the middle against the Seahawks. That was a beautiful play. Hafanga's interception in the first quarter against the Chiefs, where Gibson tips it, and he makes this acrobatic dive
like that.
And caught that. I mean, that was an incredible one.
Money.
The Emmanuel Mosley pick 6 against Baker Mayfield in Charlotte.
Yeah, double
Week
pump.
5.
Yes, I like that. Double pump, got him.
Yeah,
touchdown.
Never pump in the direction you're going.
Don't pump.
Don't pump.
Stay on the ground.
So that was number 7.
Is Juice in there anywhere?
Well, Garoppolo's floater to Tevin Coleman.
Okay.
That one's there. Kyle Juszczyk's 2 toes down.
Yes.
Where he's like basically Jerry Rice.
Yes.
On the sideline.
You got to do Juice.
You don't see fullbacks making that play.
I agree.
Would you have made that play?
I'm not going to say I would have. No. I'm going to say no. But at least I'm an honest guy. I would not have made that play.
When you saw that play, though,
amazing.
What did you say? Because that might have been.
I mean,
that's the most.
My leg started shaking. I was really, really happy. I was really, really happy. I liked it a lot.
That's the most fullback-like play you've ever seen.
It was amazing. But I mean,
that was a great.
It was great. Now here's the deal.
That's a guy who practices.
No. He's great. No, I think he's one of the better catching fullbacks in the league. But I'm gonna tell you right now, there's a guy you're forgetting that I watched him play, and he could catch, and I think he's
I know you're gonna say
he's probably better.
I know you're gonna say Larry Sanders.
Larry, come on, bro.
Arizona Cardinals.
Come on.
Yeah.
You act like you don't. Come on. You watch football.
Yeah.
Larry Sanders could get one hand behind the back. Larry Sanders, he was amazing route runner.
Yeah.
Larry's, come on, little Larry, bro. Come on. I can got Larry. I'd call Larry. Say, Larry, I got Larry on the phone. Larry, this guy's already saying you can't.
yeah. No, don't get me in trouble with Larry Sanders. Larry Sanders, you're right. Yeah, that's a great call. That is a great call.
Yeah, but Juice, that play was awesome.
That was incredible. And number 10 on the list.
Number 10.
Ray McLeod's punt return against the Falcons in Week 6.
Okay.
Where he got loose and then he got on the sidelines and almost took it to the house, but it was a big play. I think a 40 or 50-yard play. So those were the top 10 plays of the first half of the season, and will we see more tonight? I would say the one guy that really has impressed me this year, as that I wasn't banking on, is I didn't know what to expect out of Charvarius Ward.
Yeah.
And Charvarius is great. He's allowing 35 yards receiving per game this year. He's been fantastic. He's been worth every penny. They paid him $40 million in March to sign here. He's had an interception. He's had 8 passes defensed. He's like 6th in the league in passes defensed. They've targeted him 38 times. He's given up 20 catches, but no touchdowns allowed. So he's got, according to Next Gen Stats, you're talking about a guy who's allowing a completion rate of around 46%. Mooney Ward has been a difference maker for the Niners in the secondary. And I know he got a little dinged up with the groin. He tried to go anyway against his boys in the Kansas City game, and he looked really bad. And I think a lot of people have that memory fresh in their head. But this is a really special player. And I don't know, Lo, if can you get a nagging groin to heal in the middle of playing football? Because that's what he's trying to do right now.
I think that bye week is big for him, and I think that you have to be on a pitch count. When you're in halftime, you go ahead and heat it back up. You make sure that you're stretching. And during the week, you're like, okay, at practice, it's like, okay, I don't want to fatigue it, because once you fatigue your ham or fatigue your groin, then you're liable to pull it again. So you got to understand when you're doing that and trying to come back during the season, it's about a pitch count, and it's about making sure that your attention to detail, you're warming it up, you're doing the things you need to do, and then you got to pull out. When that thing starts to get a little bit of dull, and he's like, okay, I got to go sit down for a couple plays and let that thing cool down, because it's definitely hard to heal during the season.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the challenge.
Yeah, it really is.
That's the challenge for him, because, man, the 49ers, if you add a big, dominant press man corner, and you don't have Emmanuel Mosley, and you're not getting Jason Verrett back, and that puts a lot. I talked this week to 2 guys that I thought were really interesting. One was Dante Johnson, and the other was Samuel Womack. And Dante, I walked up to him, I'm like, Dante, what position in the secondary do you feel the most comfortable? And before I could even get the word out, he's like, all of them. And then I said, okay, you played free safety, you played nickel, you played corner, you've played inside in the slot, you've played outside. Where do you feel the most comfortable? And he's like, really, if I can go through, take the mental reps in the practice week, I can make myself equally comfortable at any of those spots. I think that's the true value in Dante, is that he can be a guy that somebody can go down in the second quarter, and you can say, Dante, you're the slot receiver. And there's the two-way break and all that's involved with playing the slot. He doesn't flinch. And then there's Womack, who had a ton of confidence. He went from a walk-on at Toledo to an all-conference player in the MAC by the time he left Toledo. So he's got a ton of confidence, and that right there tells you what kind of worker the kid is. But I talked to him this week, and he's like, I'm ready to roll. I've gotten a taste of it. I understand the speed of the game at this level. I know Jason Verrett, was probably going to take some reps away from me. And now that Verrett's down, I'm going to have to step up. And he didn't shy away at all. The kid's got tremendous confidence for a rookie. I would think those 2 guys, Dante Johnson, maybe not in tonight's game. I don't even know if Dante will be up. Dante's on the practice squad. But we're going to see Dante Johnson between now and the end of the year, and maybe starting tonight, we're going to see a lot more of Diamador Lenore and Samuel Womack. These are 2 young corners who, without Verrett and with no Emmanuel Mosley, and with the trade deadline coming and going, it's time for these guys to step it up and play.
It is. It's time for people to grow up. And when you talk about Dante and you talk about Mosley and the different guys that went down and guys that had to step up, this is what the NFL is about. The NFL is like, hey, look, not for long league. We understand that. But it's like, hey, look, next man up. And that's how stars are made. You look at certain guys, and you look at different guys around the league, and you watched a movie came out last year about this quarterback that was bagging groceries, Kurt Warner, and look what happened. Because an opportunity came up. Someone had to get hurt for the opportunity for Kurt Warner to step up and become a Hall of Famer and become great. And that's what this Niner team, you look at all the guys that are injured. Look at all the guys that have to step up. The second and third string guys now are in starting position roles. How do you now take advantage of the opportunity? How do you step up and play good football and play complementary football by not trying to do too much? So many young guys at times, they get in a starting position and get in that role and say, this is on me. And then it becomes about them. That's what you can't do. You got to understand, look, I know I got to know where my help comes from. And that's what you're talking about. Guys, if you're following those guys that are watching so much tape, it's like, okay, listen, you play outside shade because, look, I'm playing deep safety and I'm going to take away the inside break. So all I need you to do is make sure you take away the outside, you force him and funnel him inside. That's where your help's at. That's what football's about. It's about doing your job. And that's one of those guys, Bill Parcells, and you look at the great coaches, you look at what Belichick's able to do. It's about do your job. And that's what the Niners concept has to start being. It's doing their job, lining up an assignment, and don't have to try to do more than what you need to do. That's how you get a good football team, and that's what you want your younger players to do.
It's exactly right. I mean, be assignment sound and be accountable to one another. As far as your norm, we got about 10 minutes before we get to the end of the show. We'll talk about the keys to victory. But before we get to that, just give me your quick thought on playing in a primetime game. Your body clock, you're normally, if you're a West Coast team, you're playing at 10 a.m., you're playing at 1 p.m. Now you're sitting around a little bit, you're not playing until 5:20. Yeah. I'm just kind of wondering, how does that affect a player? Well, does it affect a player?
I tell you, so those Sundays, I remember playing some primetime games, and, I love it. Because, you're in the hotel, you check in, you check in the night before, you still go over your team ritual, do your top 15, do the special teams. You break team meeting at 9 o'clock, you grab a snack, go to your room, you still, maybe watch a show, make a couple calls, but then you get a good night's sleep. And then in the morning, you still get up your regular time, maybe get up, go to chapel, still go stretch, go get something to eat, you still have your team breakfast together, boom, do that stuff and say, okay, now, you want to stretch, move around, then maybe get off your feet. Coach said, hey, look, guys, go get off your feet. So, hey, look, you come in, you go back in the room, you want to lay down to 11 or 12 and say, watch some games and just kind of depress. Go over your book. You're just stretching, still in your room, still stretching. And then, you know what? Get over to the facility. Games at, got a 5 o'clock time. Look, so you get over to the facility at 3 o'clock. You jump in the hot tub. You still go run and stretch. Do those things. Get there a little early. And that's it. You just got to make sure you just understand what you're doing. You have more time to prepare. Look at some final things. And you just try to keep your mind. Stay away from all your buddies and all different, your phone. People want to call you and stuff. You're like, look. Stay in the mindset that, look, I can't let the outside sources really come in my circle today. So that's the biggest thing, is to being able to say, look, I don't want to run home and start getting involved with everyone, tickets and all that stuff. Get that out of the way Friday and Saturday. Focus in today. Today's just been, look, watch games, get some good rest, get off your feet, hydration, making sure you're stretched, and ready to play football.
Yeah. What's the key to victory? We got about, a little bit under 10 minutes left. Give me why don't we go back and forth? Yeah. You give me a key, I'll give you a key.
Yeah. For me, man, it's containing Herbert. Don't let Herbert become Herbert. And how do you do that? You got to hit him and you got to keep him in the pocket and contain him.
Yeah. I mean, he's not known to be a runner, but if you give him an avenue and he sees it, he will take it. And he's got some good wheels.
He does. And you can't let him extend plays. And that's the thing that I'm talking about. You and I are saying the same thing. When you're playing against a guy like Herbert, the guy can run. He doesn't necessarily want to run, but he is fast.
Right.
He's explosive. He can run physical. So when he's a big boy, the guy's 240-some pounds. So when you think about Herbert, so you want to make sure you keep him in that phone booth, but you have people around him. So if you're going to keep him in a pocket, not in a clean pocket, you have him in the pocket, but you have him patting the ball. You want him to make sure that he's uncomfortable in the pocket, making sure people are getting, you don't want him in a calm pocket, you want him in a storm. And then you got to keep him in there, because if you let him escape, then that can be trouble.
Yeah. I would say, the ball's going to Austin Eckler. They're going to throw him a lot of passes. How do you wrap up against Eckler? The Niners are number 2 in the NFL at defending opposing running backs in the pass game. So they do this well, and it's not surprising. And why do they do it well? They've got Warner and Greenlaw and Al-Shaair and a lot of speed on that second level at linebacker. Wrapping up against Eckler, to me, number one thing. Because he's going to throw it to Eckler, and he's going to complete those passes. And they're going to be somewhat layups. But do you take good angles? Do you show up, angry? And do you show up with your buddies?
Yeah.
Does everybody run to the ball? So wrapping up Eckler and minimizing his run after the catch.
I think you wrap him up, and also you want to make sure that you kind of bracket Eckler. So you're saying, okay, we're going to bracket him. How are we going to do that? And because I don't trust their receivers. I'm going to make them beat me on the outside and say, you got to show me that you can beat me. Show me what you're working with. So what I'm going to do is bracket him, and I'm going to do that bracketing with the linebacker, and I'm going to bring my safety down. I'm going to play a lot of single safety high tonight. If I'm the Niners, I'm looking at this team and saying, look, I'm going to play you with single high safety, and we're going to dare you to beat us outside, but I'm going to take away Eckler. I'm going to break him down, bring my safety down at times to help box him, keep him there, keep him in that box, make him play in the phone booth. But like you said, wrap him up, tackle him, play some single safety high, hit him off the line, but make sure if your front four is getting after the quarterback, make him stay in there, bring dog him, make sure, hey, if he has to block, you make him block. So you're saying, look, I got to come pressure on him. So what I'm saying now, you bring pressure. So now if he's free release, now you bring that safety down. The safety's going to pick him up. So now Eckler's thinking he's got a free release. Oh, I'm playing single high. My safety's coming down to the side where I know that he's going out trying to get that free release. So I'm going to mix it up I'm playing a little chess game because I know Eckler is going to be a mainstay in this offense. So that's what I'm doing on defense.
Yeah, I think the chess game is absolutely right as well, because you got to remember this. Justin Herbert's still a very young quarterback, and they don't have great receivers right now because of the injuries. But guess what? The one thing with Herbert is that you don't want to defend him when he's in a rhythm.
Right.
He looks like two different players in and out of rhythm. So D'Amico's got to fool him. He's got to show him some pre-snap looks. He's got to fool him on some pre-snap looks and make him anticipate pressure when it ain't there.
Yep.
Make him, not anticipate pressure when it is there. You got to keep him confused. I think the Niners also have to play some really well orchestrated games up front. You're down Kinlaw, you're down Armstead, you're down Ebukam. That means it's a big night for Amenahue, and it's a big night for Drake Jackson, and an equally big night for Kevin Givens. And then I'll say run the ball a lot. Commit to the run. This is a Kyle Shanahan thing. He needs to be patient as a play caller. Yeah, you got this awesome bevy of weapons, and any one of those guys can take it to the house at any moment. But the stat that's got to jump up at you is 5.7 yards per rush. Now, a lot of that is that the Chargers have been giving up a lot of long runs. So hopefully the 49ers can gash them for some long runs tonight. If you look at what they are actually against the run, you take away a lot of those longer runs. They're more like 17, 18 in the league in that stat rush success rate, which kind of takes out the big play and kind of shows you a clearer picture. So they're not horrendous against the run,
right.
But they are susceptible to the run, to some big runs, and I'd say stick with that. Keep the ball out of the air. And then the other key is for Jimmy Garoppolo. The Chargers aren't winning this game if the Niners are +2 in turnovers, the Chargers can't win. +1 in turnovers, Chargers can't win. Even in turnovers, I don't think the Chargers can win. Chargers only can win this game if they're +1 or +2. Jimmy Garoppolo, throw the ball away. Throw the ball away. Rodgers does it. Brady does it. Learn to do it.
Yeah.
And start doing it. You're not going to win this might be 75 plays in this game. You're not going to win all 75.
Right.
You're going to lose some.
Yeah.
Throw the ball away and go to the next down. Don't try to make every play and turn a mediocre play into a horrendous play.
No question. And we were talking earlier, I was talking to, just about football itself in general. And if Jimmy is going to have success, he's got to do what he does well, and that's play within himself. He can't get too excited. He can't do too many things and quit trying to take over games. He's got to say, look, I'm going to play within myself, because if I can do that, I have good enough players around me that we can win the game. I don't have to be a superstar to win games. All I got to do is get the ball to the superstars. And that's what he needs to do and continue to do, because he has enough stars around him that he can win. Because if you don't, throw it to the stars. And if you don't, if you try to take it upon yourself, like you're saying, now you're going to turn a bad play into a worse play by throwing interceptions or fumbling the ball. So just live to fight on another day, live to hunt on another day, because you got good defense, you got good players around you. Throw it away, eat the ball, don't throw interceptions, and let your playmakers make plays for you.
27-17 Niners. What do you got?
Well, I think this is a 30 game. I think the Niners put up 30 today. I think it's going to be like 30-21, 30-24. I think you're going to have a little shootout. I think the Chargers find a way to, make this thing competitive. I think the Niners win 30-24.
Thanks to Tim Jordan with us here. Thanks to Cam back at the station.
Love you, Tim.
Thanks to you, Lo. Thanks to our guest, Borna Nazari, who was fantastic. On 95.7 The Game, you got Warrior basketball. Warriors and Kings go at the Golden One tonight, and we've got all that coverage for you starting when? Well, how about right now? Lo, let's go check out some football.
Let's go, baby. Let's go, Niners.
There you go. That's the kickoff show.
Let's go, Niners.
Once again, brought to you by Jim Beam Bourbon and Harris Ranch Beef. Have a great night, everybody.
November is a great time to get a new TV. Now that the top-rated brands like Samsung, LG, and Sony are at the lowest prices of the year. With Black Friday deals available, what more could you want? How about better than Black Friday? Before you click, you should call Video Only to see how you can go lower than Black Friday. That's right, the best TVs at better prices. Check out Video Only before you buy, or you'll be sorry.
At Harris Ranch, we do beef, just like we've done for over 50 years. Beef that's raised locally right here in California. The flavor you crave, the quality you trust time after delicious time. Harris Ranch, we do beef.
California, you deserve more. And with United Healthcare, you'll get more. Annual enrollment is October 15th through December 7th. So call United Healthcare today. With the United Healthcare Medicare Advantage Plan, you get more from your Medicare dollar, now including better than ever dental, vision, over-the-counter, and prescription drug coverage. Call United Healthcare at 1-888-CALL-UHC today and speak with a licensed sales agent. Benefits, features, and/or devices vary by plan and area. Limitations and exclusions apply.
AT&T Fiber presents a straightforward moment inspired by straightforward pricing.
And now we just cube the pancetta as such.
So what's on the menu tonight?
This carbonara I found online. It's fire. You gonna love it, Mom.
I hope you hold on to this AT&T Fiber, son. It's nice.
Yeah, you should settle down now that you're a gagillionaire.
Oh, I am. I finally found the one internet I've been looking for my whole life.
So, no more one-year stands?
No, I'm done with all that. With AT&T Fiber, there's no price increase at 12 months.
What about equipment fees?
Nope.
Those were never any good for you.
Exactly. But now, everything's completely straightforward.
Well, in the spirit of being straightforward, I never liked any of your old ones.
Me neither. Blah.
Y'all never told me that.
But we're being straightforward now, which feels good, yeah?
Yeah. Now let's get straightforward about that girl he's been seeing.
Straightforward is better. No equipment fees, no data caps, no price increase at 12 months. Live like a gagillionaire with AT&T Fiber. Limited availability in select areas. Visit att.com/hypergig for details.
O'Reilly! Don't miss See Better, Drive Safer Month at O'Reilly Auto Parts with great deals on wiper blades, headlight bulbs, and more. Right now, get up to a $20 gift card after mailing rebate with the purchase of select Sylvania bulbs. Plus, get double O Rewards points with your purchase. Prepare for the weather ahead during See Better, Drive Safer Month at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Texting privacy policy and terms and conditions posted at textplan.us. Texting enrolls for recurring automated text marketing messages. Message and data rates may apply. Reply stop, opt out. Go to getrbawindows.com for full offer details.
Homeowners, do you know when to replace your windows? Feeling too hot or cold? It's time to replace. Can't see through fog between the glass? Time to replace. Spending too much on expensive energy that literally goes out the window? It's definitely time to replace. If you've put off replacing windows in your home because it's too expensive, here's great news. You can now get a free in-home window consultation and free price quote from Renewal by Andersen, the company with the most 5-star reviews among leading full-service window replacement companies. And during their Black Friday sale, you can save $355 off every window and $910 off every door. Just text SCREEN to 323232 for your free consultation on top quality affordable windows or patio doors for $0 down, 0 payments, and 0 interest for a year. That's right, you don't pay a dime for an entire year. Plus, you can save $355 off every window and $910 off every door. But hurry, this offer ends November 25th. Text SCREEN to 323232 right now. Don't go into winter with drafty windows. Text the word SCREEN to 323232. Don't wait. Text SCREEN to 323232. 3232.
Do you have 3 ex-wives and your current trophy wife wants a life insurance policy 3 times the size of the policies you had to purchase for your previous mistakes? If so, you need to call Big Lou at Term Provider, 800-230-2777. Big Lou is intimately familiar with your problems, and if you're 50 or 60 years old and in reasonably good health, a $1 million policy should only cost about $100 to $200 per month. Big Lou may have a solution for your previous policies as well. You may even save enough money to lighten the load on your new $1 million policy. Remember, call Big Lou. He's like you, except he's only on number 2. Call Term Provider at 800-230-2777. That's 800-230-2777. For $1 million in term life insurance that you can live with. Call Big Lou at 800-230-2777. 800-230-2777.
Meet Joe A,
Hi.
Joe B,
Hello.
and Joe C.
What's up?
3 everyday Joes perfecting their banking with Chase. Joe A is locking his lost debit card with the Chase mobile app. Joe B is cruising toward his new ride with AutoSave. And Joe C's Chase banker is helping him budget to go back to school. Tools that help protect, support for what's next. One bank that puts you in control. Visit chase.com/checking. Chase, make more of what's yours.
Chase mobile app is available for select mobile devices. Messaging and data rates may apply. JP Morgan Chase Bank, N.A. member FDIC.
Ray Magliozzi here for eBay Motors. Okay, easy now. You're teaching your kid how to parallel park. Ouch! Turns out he likes to do it by feel. Don't worry, eBay Motors has bumpers, taillights, trunk lids, license plate holders, 122 million parts. Pull up just a little bit. And headlights. They've got lots of headlights. Get the right parts at the right prices. eBay Motors. Let's ride.
Chris Cuomo is back with a new show on a new network. Catch Cuomo weeknights on News Nation at 5 and 8 p.m. Pacific. To find News Nation on your television provider, go to newsnationnow.com/join us.
Welcome to the greatest show on hardwood.
Left side of the circle, it's money, cold, hard cash for Stephen Curry.
The NBA champions are back to defend their title. And it starts now. This is Warriors Live.
Holy cannoli, this is crazy.
Presented by Xfinity. Supercharge your home with supersonic Wi-Fi. Unbeatable internet, only from Xfinity.
It is Warriors Live from Sacramento at Golden One Center. John Dickinson with you here as we get you closer to tip-off the Warriors and the Sacramento Kings. That's right, because these two teams haven't faced each other enough here in the first 4 weeks of the NBA season. They're going to do it one more time, second time in a week, and the third time in what will be 22 days. First time in Sacramento. Of course, the Warriors have gotten the better of the Kings in these first 2 matchups this season, winning a couple of games inside Chase Center back on October the 23rd. The Warriors built a huge lead before holding on down the stretch to beat the Kings 130 to 125, and then just 6 nights ago, again in San Francisco, the Warriors were able to rally after having a 12-point lead early, then trailing by 12 as the game went on, and the Dubs are able to rally with a big fourth quarter and a little bit of good fortune with the whistle down the stretch as Klay Thompson not called for a foul of a 3-point attempt on Kevin Huerter after the Warriors had taken a 3-point lead. So they walked off the Chase Center hardwood with a victory in that one as well, 116 to 113. So 2 wins for the Dubs, but by an average of 4 points in those first 2 matchups. And Sacramento is playing real good basketball compared to where they were at these first 4 games of the season. The Kings come in at 5-6. The Warriors come in at 5-7. Of course, Golden State winning their last 2 games, one against the Kings. They also beat the Cavaliers at Chase Center as well on Friday night. Another game where the Warriors put it away down the stretch. But the Kings, after an 0-4 start, which saw that first of the 2 head-to-head matchups, between the Warriors and the Kings go the Warriors' favor. Sacramento then lost to the Grizzlies to drop to 0-4 after that first head-to-head matchup, but they have won 5 of the last 7, including some wins against some teams that the Warriors couldn't handle on the Warriors' most recent long Eastern road trip. Sacramento went to Charlotte and got a win in a place where the Warriors didn't win. Then the Warriors were able to, or the Kings rather, were able to go in and nearly beat Miami. Then they were able to win in Orlando after the Warriors had dropped their contest in Orlando. So you look at it, and the Kings are playing much better basketball. Sacramento beat Cleveland after the Warriors had, or before the Warriors had taken on the Cavaliers, and then the Kings the other night were able to beat the Lakers as they went down to L.A. and got down 12, but then came back and ended up winning that game down the stretch. So Sacramento at 5-6, playing their best basketball the early campaign. The Warriors at 5-7, looking to try and build off of the last 2 wins and the time off that the Warriors have had. So the Warriors are trying to, and I think tonight is really the kind of game that will tell you if the Warriors really are making strides as far as building on some of the things, transition defense, defending without fouling, and just putting a more conscientious, consistent effort together as far as some of the things that they've really tried to work on and have had to work on here over the course of the last couple of weeks and coming off of that bad road trip. One thing the Warriors have not been able to do as of yet is win on the road. So that's got to be a goal for Golden State as they come in 0-6 on the road. They've been able to win at Chase Center, 5-1 at Chase, 0-6 on the road. And so the Warriors' next road game in Phoenix, got a home game wedged in there. But the Warriors playing 0-6 ball and the 0-5 trip, obviously the one game going back to the first week of the season, they dropped in Phoenix as well. And so, that's a box left unchecked is looking at the standings in the NBA right now. The Warriors, one of few teams in the NBA that still are looking for that first road victory of the season. And, it's something where you want to get that box checked. And tonight is an opportunity, even though the Kings have been playing well. Only Orlando and Detroit in the East don't have a road win, and only the Lakers in the West don't have a road victory as well. So the Warriors just one of 4 teams without a win away from home this season. John Dickinson here, Warriors Live. We are sponsored by Xfinity Internet. Better streaming with our Flex 4K device, voice remote, and Peacock Premium, all at no extra cost, no strings attached, as the Warriors are set to go at it against the Sacramento Kings here in Sacramento, as the Warriors, again, looking for that first road win and looking to try and get closer to 500 with San Antonio at Chase Center tomorrow. And real key for the Warriors not to allow the tough start to snowball into a situation where they maintain being under 500 for a good chunk of the season here. And I think that's where tonight is a game that really is going to tell you a lot about where the Warriors are at as far as building. You get to 6-7 with San Antonio in tomorrow, even if you give Klay Thompson the night off tomorrow, even if maybe some of the other veterans don't play as the schedule starts to ramp up a little bit, although I doubt the Warriors would do anything too extensive. They typically don't do that at home. And yes, it would be a third game in 4 nights. Other than Klay, I would imagine that probably everybody else would be set to go because the Warriors have had so few games in the recent time here. Just the 2 games essentially going back over the last 9 nights if you go to the end of that road trip, which was a week ago Friday when they dropped the developmental game to the Pelicans. The regulars haven't been playing a lot. I think aside from Klay, who Steve Kerr said within the last week may not play in any back-to-backs for the Warriors this season, it's a scenario where everybody else, I would imagine, would be good to go for Golden State. But if you can get tonight and then get tomorrow, you're back to 7-7 and you're feeling good about yourself and you've won 4 in a row before you go to Phoenix, which becomes really more of a temperature check kind of a game with the fact that the Suns have gotten off to a really good start and are playing excellent at home and 8-4 overall, 6-1 at home. And so, but you can't do any of that if you can't get tonight, and tonight is a formidable challenge with the Sacramento team that's playing better basketball than they have been after the tough start. Let's get to our injury report, which is brought to you by Boxer & Gerson, Northern California's premier workers' compensation law firm, helping injured workers get their lives back for over 40 years. For more info, visit boxerlaw.com. And the only thing popped up on the injury report for the Warriors in this one tonight is Patrick Baldwin Jr. out in this one with lower back soreness. Andre Iguodala remains out with left hip injury management, but everybody else for the Warriors good to go. First game of the back-to-back. The Sacramento Kings with no injuries to report. They do have a couple of their two-way players on G League assignment as well, but Sacramento's got their regulars in this one lined up and ready for action. So it should be a good one with both teams playing again at full strength. And that, your injury report, brought to you by Boxer & Gerson. John Dickinson coming to you from Golden One Center here in Sacramento as the Warriors ready to roll against the Sacramento Kings. Stephen Curry, man, what can you say about him? Just over the first 11 games that he's played this season, the 8th most points in franchise history in a player's first 11 games of a season. 9 of the 11, 30 or more. He's had back-to-back games of over 40, and if you factor in the last 3 games that he's played in, Curry averaging 42 over the last 3 games, making 65% of his field goal attempts over that span. First time in his career that he's averaged 42 points while shooting at least 65% from the field in a 3-game span, and that's something that hasn't been done by anybody in the NBA in quite some time. The last player to do it, you got to go back nearly a decade. It was somebody Warrior fans are very familiar with, Kevin Durant. When Durant was still with Oklahoma City, a young Kevin Durant, 2013-2014 season, Durant averaged 43.3 points per game while shooting 67.6% from the field. And Steph Curry already in elite company just by walking onto an NBA hardwood on a given night. But what he's been doing has just been off the charts for the Warriors, and they've needed every bit of it to be able to withstand a couple of real strong efforts against them by both the Sacramento team that the Warriors are going to see tonight and the Cavaliers squad. Curry effectively took over both of those games down the stretch and willed Golden State to wins in both of those games. Curry, of course, the 200 now consecutive regular season games where he's made at least one three-pointer, an NBA record, and the all-time NBA leader in three-pointers made in a season. The Warriors have been getting brilliant contributions from Andrew Wiggins and Draymond Green, along with Kevon Looney. Klay Thompson struggling, but it was interesting to see Steve Kerr be able to praise Klay Thompson in his pregame press conference for the little things, maybe still pressing offensively, but over the course of these last couple of games, and one of the themes from the game on Friday night was the fact that would Steve Kerr pull Klay Thompson out to close the game? He was going to put Andrew Wiggins back in. Jordan Poole had one of his better games in recent memory, getting going with 18 points, and he was on the floor with Kevon Looney and Steph and Andrew Wiggins, Draymond Green. Who would Wiggins come back in the game for, though? And it wound up being Jordan Poole. Kerr went back to Klay as if there was any doubt. He's been well on record in saying that he's ride or die effectively with Klay Thompson down the stretch in games, regardless of whether or not he's playing well. It's just you're going to trust your legends and your championship players down the stretch. And Klay Thompson, some solid defense in the game against the Cavaliers, also knocked down immediately a big three. And while Klay may continue to press, while the shooting numbers continue to not be there, where the defense has been up and down, he has been a steadying influence for the Warriors down the stretch in a lot of these games, and still is a part of what has been a top NBA group, and that is that starting lineup for the Warriors with Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Andrew Wiggins, Draymond Green, and Kevon Looney. Jordan Poole, is he going to get on a little bit of a hot streak? Remains to be seen. But some signs of life from Jordan Poole offensively in the game on Friday night at Chase against the Cavaliers? Is this the night where he makes it stand up for a second consecutive game? And how much of his ability to play better basketball and be more effective was playing more off the ball with Dante DiVincenzo back in the rotation after missing a handful of games? DiVincenzo going out in the first of the two matchups, which was, 3 weeks ago today at Chase Center in San Francisco, and DiVincenzo back in the fold, and DiVincenzo able to take a little bit of the ball handling duties away from Jordan Poole. I thought Poole in the game Friday was a heck of a lot more decisive. There was not a lot of, as my guy Matt Steinmetz likes to say, fiddle-faddling with the ball out on the perimeter. When he got it, he went and attacked, or he took a shot, or he kept the ball moving in an attempt to get it back. Real nice game for Jordan Poole offensively, and much needed for Jordan Poole offensively. Knocked down the three ball, which I think was a welcome sight for the Warriors and their fans in that game, because it really does hinge, I think, a lot on the three ball for Jordan Poole that sets up everything else, because he has such an ability to beat players off the dribble and get to the basket and be effective in that way. But if he's not making the three, then teams can close in a little bit. I think teams have really been paying more attention, obviously, to Jordan Poole on the scouting report this year, as we've talked a heck of a lot about to this point. Let's get to our Warriors Advantage for this one, brought to you by United Healthcare, offering Medicare Advantage plans. Go to UHC.com for more information, and we'll make our Warriors Advantage for tonight the 7 consecutive wins for the Warriors over the Kings. Third longest active streak for an opponent that the Warriors have right now. The Warriors have won 11 in a row against the Cavaliers, as we referenced some of the dominance, in 19 of 20 overall against the Cavaliers. We talked about that on Friday, and 10 in a row against Chicago going back here. But the Warriors have won 7 consecutive games against the Kings, so they've got a familiarity with this young team that does seem to be on the rise, and they've been able to win. You got to go all the way back to late in the 2020-21 pandemic-shortened season for the last time that the Kings beat the Warriors. That was here in Golden One Center before fans were allowed back into the mix during the pandemic. So, yeah, familiarity. I think the one thing the Warriors know is that the Kings are going to give them a challenge after coming back from down big and really making the Warriors sweat 3 weeks ago tonight, and also being ahead for a good chunk of that game after the Warriors got off to the 12-point lead against the Sacramento Kings on Monday. Looked like the Kings were in pretty good control for long stretches of that one. So the Warriors, knowing what they're up against and the familiarity and recent, at least little bit of dominance, will make that our Warriors Advantage for today. Brought to you by United Healthcare, offering Medicare Advantage plans. Again, go to UHC.com for more information. Warriors Live continuing here on 95.7 The Game. John Dickinson at Golden One Center. Want to make sure you join me for Warriors wrap-up after the game as well. Of course, Tim Roy, Jim Barnett, they're going to have the call here from Golden One Center, and then we'll be taking your calls and reacting to this one afterwards at 888-957-9570. Should be a lot of fun. Post-game locker room sound, all of that good stuff. So make sure you keep with us. I know there's a lot going on in Northern California, Bay Area sports tonight, but keep an ear to us here on 95.7 The Game, and we got you covered as far as the Warriors and the Kings go here, as the Dubs going to start playing a lot of games in a short period of time, with San Antonio tomorrow. Then they go to Phoenix on Wednesday, back home for the Knicks, and then back on the road again for 2 right before the Thanksgiving holiday. Houston and New Orleans away from Chase Center, then home for 2, Clippers and Jazz surrounding the Thanksgiving holiday, at Minnesota and at Dallas for the Warriors. So yeah, you look at it, and it is 6, 7, 8, 10 games coming up here in essentially what amounts to the next 16 days before the Warriors are going to get more than a one-day break at the end of November the 30th, and then December the 1st before it all starts up again, rapid fire for the Warriors as things head into December. Not often that you go through a stretch in the NBA where you play as few games as the Warriors have here over what amounts to the last 9 nights, with just 2 games being played. The one, of course, on Friday at Chase against the Cavs, and then the game on the 7th against these same Sacramento Kings. Let's go ahead and get to Take It to the Bank. Who's going to take it to the bank tonight for the Warriors? Sponsored by Fremont Bank, full service banking, no compromises. And I'm going to stick with Jordan Poole tonight. I think Jordan Poole is starting to get rolling a little bit, and I think he continues to get rolling, and an extension of his more efficient, more decisive scoring game on Friday night. I think Jordan Poole is a good matchup for Poole against a Kings team that can be a little bit light in the defense component, although they've played better defense down the stretch in games. They've played some close games, and they've been good in close games. As Sacramento beat the Lakers the other night, beat the Cavs down the stretch in a game after they had lost a big lead. Mentioned that road trip where the Kings fared better than the Warriors did with some similar opponents, winning at Charlotte and Orlando after getting down big. They've been a pretty good team after that 0-4 start at executing down the stretch, and so the Warriors are going to have to be cognizant of that, although the Dubs have been able to win a couple of close games head-to-head against Sacramento. But Take It to the Bank, brought to you by Fremont Bank, full service banking, no compromises. I'm going to roll with a second consecutive positive game for Jordan Poole here as the Warriors and Kings go at it. Warriors Live, sponsored by Xfinity Internet, better streaming, Flex 4K device, voice remote, and Peacock Premium, all at no extra cost, no strings attached, as I am coming to you here from Golden One Center in Sacramento, as the Warriors looking to get that 3rd straight win and get that first road win of the season. Be interested to see how Steve Kerr manages the rotation, because a big key to the Warriors' success over these last 2 games has been a much shorter rotation than we had seen over the first 10 games of the season, really 9 if you want to throw out the game in New Orleans where the young guys played. But yeah, Steve Kerr saying that it's not going to be totally sustainable to do it the way the Warriors have been doing it. And that's not to say that Steph Curry can't continue to be dominant at the level that he's been at, although, wow, it's been just incredible as we laid out the numbers for Steph here, and the 9 of 11 games scoring 30 or more, and the 40 points and all of that. We know Steph's going to be there, and Steph's going to play legendary Hall of Fame caliber basketball most nights. But I do think with Curry playing out of his mind and the short rotation and none of the young players right now contributing, how long can Steve Kerr be forced into doing that just to get wins? And he said it again, that this team right now is just not good enough to overcome too many mistakes. Anthony Slater, The Athletic, had asked Steve Kerr in the pregame presser about Moses Moody, and Kerr was pretty abrupt and straightforward in saying that Moody has found himself out of the rotation for 2 reasons: turnovers and fouls, and again added the fact that the Warriors right now are not good enough as a basketball team to overcome too many mistakes. And so those kinds of mistakes are why a guy like Moody, who seems to be more steady 3-and-D type of player than the wide range of wide variance of effectiveness that Kuminga and Wiseman can be on a night in, night out basis, but he's had similar issues to the other 2 young players. I think Steve Kerr's hoping a few games, maybe tonight is the last night where you can play a little bit of a shorter rotation. You try and open it up tomorrow against San Antonio when you're at home, knowing that maybe Klay Thompson's not going to play in the second of the back-to-back there, and you've got a little bit more flexibility. But yeah, no Wiseman or Kuminga or Moody in these last couple of games, and the Warriors have really done it by necessity. So the key question tonight, and we'll be talking about it on Warriors Wrap-Up after the game, are the Warriors really truly building off these last 2 games? I think this is the perfect opponent, one they're familiar with, one that's familiar with them, to see if get that first road win out of the way? Can you play conscientious defensively? Can you grind one out to get that first dub of the season away from Chase Center and really get on a winning streak and in some ways validate some of the things that they've tried to do better over the course of the time off this week and coming off of that road trip and really trying to fix everything. So that'll do it for me. Again, join me after the ball game for Warriors wrap-up. I'll be here live in Sacramento. I'll be taking your phone calls. It's going to be a lot of fun as the Warriors and Kings go at it, with Golden State trying to win for an 8th consecutive time head-to-head over these Kings. Tim Roy, Jim Barnett, they've got the call for this one. Join me after the ball game, and we'll do it here at 888-957-9570. Warriors and Kings coming up next here, 95.7 The Game.
Black Friday is coming, and that's the smart time to shop for a top-rated TV from Samsung, LG, or Sony. But why wait? You can get those Black Friday TV deals right now at Video Only, and then enjoy Thanksgiving with your new TV. Still want to wait? Then how about better than Black Friday deals? The top-rated TVs at stupid low prices. Check out Video Only now before the rush, or you'll be sorry.
I'm Bob Burke, founder and chairman of Burke America Parts Group, a family of brands that includes RepairClinic.com, an appliance and HVAC parts solution company that's grown into an international brand. Before AmericanEagle.com, we partially launched a new technology platform developed by another firm. American Eagle helped take our technology to a whole new level with digital marketing, software development, and business insights